Here this week as we get going on a Monday morning. Chicago Fed National Activity Index just coming through there for the month of June. 0.05, the overall number there. That's higher than the 0.3% or 0.3 forecast number there again for the Chicago Fed National Activity Index again for June. Couple of bond auctions coming up later this morning at 11:30. That's pretty much it as far as the economic calendar is concerned for today anyways, but we do have a whole bunch of releases, including inflation-related, coming up later in the week, Thursday, Friday. We'll get into those as we move along. Overall, the market back to the upside in a pretty good way here this morning, being led by the NASDAQ once again. 1.1% right now for the Qs, just took out 480. So if you zoom out a little bit, we're basically right back to where we started, or a little bit higher even than on Friday. We had that quick reversal, and then it sold off all day long on Friday. Tech back to the upside across the board. Nvidia possibly looking at designing and manufacturing a China-specific chip on the top end of their spectrum. So we'll touch on Nvidia, some of the semiconductors back in the spotlight here today, after a bit of a negative week last week. Yeah, good move by Nvidia to try to work around the Biden administration's embargo. I thought you'd like this headline, Brendo. The Optimus production being announced here. They want to have it in-house by mid-2025. They want to have larger amounts for other companies by 2026, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. More delays, obviously, or holdouts from last week as a result of the CrowdStrike debacle. Looks like Delta had issues with some of their software there that schedules flight attendance. So we'll keep an eye on that, Brenda. Yeah, speaking of Tesla, just with a decent move through the pre-market highs right now, back to 243.5, 244, approaching the halfway mark, I guess, on the way back from that big sell-off on Friday for Tesla. There's DJT. Yeah, that happened. Huge gap higher. We've given it back already. Back to basically where we ended on Friday right now, trying to hold $35 for DJT after, Biden steps aside and puts his support behind Kamala Harris. So we'll keep an eye on Donald J. Trump today, as you like to call. Of course, we got to keep an eye on DJT. I mean, it's active right now, 0.6, still positive on the day. Happy Monday, guys. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Blue Monday to everybody. And not because we're feeling blue, because apparently we all had decided to wear the blue shirts in honor of the Jays not losing. Right. On Sunday.
George Springer playing way better.
Well, you know what? Sometimes the pressure just has to be off that your season is completely over, and then players can start to produce. No, I'm happy they did well. My nephew was at the game with my wife and daughter. They had some fun. But I'm glad to see Tesla up 2 points, Nvidia up 2 points, the market's up a point. We'll get to CrowdStrike. They cannot seem to bounce just yet. But we got some earnings coming through this week. Obviously, Tesla's the first one, and the one I think everyone's excited for first this week. We lost 250. I think that's going to be another key level. Probably worth some fades into that 250 level there on Tesla. But good volume so far. I like what I see. NVIDIA is going to be in play. You already mentioned those chips. Regardless of whether they had their, hey, we're gonna have an update. Fly just flew like right past me. That was a biggie. No, regardless of whether they have an update or, hey, they got Blackwell news, they're trying to do their China chip. I could care less. We'd be trading NVIDIA off these levels anyways, because 117 3 days in a row, you got to try for it on a fourth day as far as I'm concerned. So there's a lot to watch today. Probably the first day the crypto isn't going ham when we sit down in the morning, but do not sleep on the move that Bitcoin has been on. So the Maras, the Coinbase is still in play, even if they haven't gapped much.
Yeah, 67, 2, and 34. 35 is nice.
Holla.
Really nice. We'll put down there for crypto. Yeah, hey, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, look, it should be a fun day today. I mean, obviously, we got Tesla on our mind. I came in and was thinking, like, maybe CrowdStrike had a chance to be above this $300 level, but it is not. And we are down 4% again on CrowdStrike. So this name, if you dip bought sort of on Friday, depending on what levels you're at, you're flat or maybe down. We'll see if it can hold this, again, 280-ish level here coming through for CrowdStrike. So I actually really like this name, especially if we could fade it off this 300. I mean, we really like $300 levels, key levels. We dipped down below it right there after a pretty bad move back in that day. We actually had this short at 309, I think, and we were able to cover it, but then a nice little recovery back in the last hour gave CrowdStrike, I think, a little bit of a false bump there. And so a lot of traders, thinking 306, 307, nice close. But a lot of that was just in that last hour. So today you continue sort of, I was going to put my hand over the screen, but if you sort of take away all of this action right here on CrowdStrike, like all of this in the last little bit, then it kind of just continues its movement down to the downside here. So I feel like back into 300, if we got any pops into this area, it'd be worth a little bit of a short. So we'll see here if that's a play that we have early on CrowdStrike. We missed the long on Friday, so then we had the short near the end. You never want to get too much FOMO in these markets, but yeah, it should be a fun day. Again, it's a Monday, so that's always exciting. A big earnings week. We have Tesla tomorrow and a bunch of names coming, Alphabet coming as well. So, I mean, it's going to be a big week right there. You can join us with Real Trading, and make sure you grab our watch list as well. Lots of notes coming out there. Working on the sticky note right here. Starbucks, nice hold this morning. SPUX there off of some activist actions, $79 there for Starbucks. We'll see if it can hold the high side. And then I don't know, man. DJT is what it is.
I actually thought there'd be more volume to this morning, maybe.
Yeah. What is the volume? 500? Yeah.
500,000. It's not like it's bad on the volume side. The good news about DJT.
I don't know if that helps.
Well,
Trump or not, this announcement with.
What's interesting about it is like you certainly seem like it seems as if a lot of people saying it hurts them, like they wanted to be up against Biden, but it doesn't really matter to us so long as the stock moves. What's weird about DJT, I would say, is the afternoon had the most obvious, and we weren't trading it in the afternoon on Friday. I'll go get this out of the way. This is all in hindsight, but look what kept happening at $35 on DJT in the afternoon, and then look what's happening at $35 this morning. So a lot of times you're like, okay, what's the key level to watch at 9:30 on the stock? Well, I don't think it's that complicated with DJT. If it fails through 95, probably a test of Friday's low. If it holds 35, maybe you can get going a bit. Just not a lot of activity. And there is an actual bid of like 25,000 shares sitting on here, but I don't know how much that's going to matter. You closed it exactly $34.99, so that kind of tells you where you want to be looking there on the DJT. Got to have that one on watch. Although I see I saw someone in the chat was like, what's going on with Robinhood? And I have that same sort of thought. Because Hood, despite a lot of like crypto adjacent names or even in the vicinity, were but stair-stepping to the upside on Friday. Robinhood kind of retesting, I want to say, a big low from Thursday in the midst of a strong market. So we're up a point here, and Robinhood looks like it wants to test this 2280 support level. So this is interesting because I really didn't think this is something we'd be seeing on an up market. Don't really have this as an idea for a short. Kind of want to figure out what's going on here with Robinhood. But if it loses that support level, it's seeming relatively weak compared to almost everything I'm looking at that would be adjacent to it.
All right, a couple of things moving around here. I just saw this one. Stab Sciences just popping up, very light on the volume, but back to, I guess that's Friday's highs, 1050, 1060. There's no real news here. They just came out and said that data from their late stage trial for the company's Alzheimer's drug is expected in December. So up 4.7% on that. I mean, there's been tons of headlines for Cassava over the past few weeks and months. The other side of the equation here, I want to mention banks real quick. BAC, there was a note from Berkshire. Berkshire sold about 34 million, I believe it was, 33.9 million shares of BAC, so lightening up on some of the bank positions. So Bank of America downside this morning. I saw there was JPM, a couple of analysts talking about JPM as well. We're through the bank earnings, but this one dead flat here. Yeah, good call there, Brendo. Yeah, the transactions were carried out July 17th to 19th in the price range here for Warren Buffett, around $43 to about $44. He still owns a sizable amount, 998 million shares, valued at $42 billion. So he still holds a big position, but yeah, multiple transactions here to offload some, Brendo. Yeah, and if you zoom out a little bit on XLF, you'll probably see why this is an intraday chart, but what a move this XLF, if you go out to a higher time frame, has had over the past couple of weeks here. 43 was a bit of a pivot on Friday, guys, for the banks.
Yeah, it certainly was. And you know, sometimes you see the buying at the top. We notice this with the Jeff Bezos 200 level thing, or selling at the top, I should say. And you notice that with Bezos, and then You look at what happened after a good run for BAC post earnings, right in and around like 44, like up and above. I don't know, maybe not, but if it walks like a duck, smells like a duck, probably you had a big seller like Berkshire or somebody selling it off in that 44 range. The good news for BAC is because it was a good run on earnings, it's simply pulling back into prior support here at that $42 level. If it wasn't for the fact that we really wanted to, today Tesla, Nvidia, CrowdStrike, Tellurian's got a deal. They're being bought for like $1. There's a few things out there. The Mars of the world still going to be in play. I don't know if I want to be trading the banks as the first spot. 42 looks pretty decent if it can bounce there. You can see resistance maybe turning into support. But I don't know if VAC is going to be the first place I go to. I would tell you if it holds 42, like that previous break level, and gets back up to 44, I don't wonder if you don't fade that at least. Like the selling was certainly there at that 44. It looked very similar on a 3-day to what happened in Amazon at 200. Like you could just see every time it gets above the number, rejection, and then just cannot seem to hold above that line, above 44 even. So I think if it gets up there, that would be more of a trade than trying to hope that 42 holds.
Yeah, I see we have Michael coming very, very soon, and we often talk about ETFs and things like that. The XLF here, again, two weekdays in a row, followed by, let's see what happens today. It's up less than the market here. There's just sectional rotation, right? We talked about this before as well. When you're going to see bump ups in some of these, the bank names are already huge. Like banks aren't supposed to move this much in 6-7 months, but they did. And you had tech, you had a little bit of rotation in the last part, early part of last week, and then a little bit of a bounce back Thursday, Friday, create some of these names to go down. You can look at other things like IWM to see that. We talked about the XBI, XLV, different sectors starting to bounce around. So if you're going to think about going something short, I would just say, and again, I feel like we want to go short. And again, I'm smiling because this is what our following guest is going to say too. You want to go short on weak names, right? Why would we want to buy weak names that continue to make the moves downside, or do we want to buy strength? And to me, I'm just saying this, I know Wells Fargo looks like it's not a horrible chart, but they had one of the worst earnings. They dropped from $60 all the way down here to 56 where it found some support. So I just want to see if it finds that support again. I would rather short this name on a most recent bad earnings call right here on Wells Fargo and use 61, even up here. Why not just use the 52-week high up here, 62.50 or so? Use that as your stop spot. And I think that you can risk now $3 at least to get back. If you do think the banks are going to turn over a little bit, Wells Fargo, let's see if it holds this 56. So I feel like you're in a pretty good spot risk to reward here. Short it around 60, give yourselves $3, possibly have, and I know it's not that big of a difference, but have $4 or $5 to the downside. Then if you break, you win again. So watch out for $52, which is the 200 period on the moving day average, so on the daily. So anyways, I would look for Wells Fargo weakness, and XLF just 2 candles in a row there on the daily, not looking super healthy.
There he is. Yeah, Michael Noss, as mentioned, back with us on the Monday morning to give us a couple of ideas heading into a brand new week. We have lots to come this week, Mr. Noss, with earnings from big tech names, a whole bunch of economic data to look forward to as well. You introduced a brand new indicator back on Friday on this show from Trade Ideas. There's also a test drive coming up for anyone who might have missed it back on Friday. Stay tuned, a couple minutes, we'll discuss this test drive. But you want to talk about Coinbase here this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something me and Sean have been talking about on and off in the after hours show while we were having this Bitcoin pullback, kind of talking about how I would express it if Bitcoin started moving. That pullback, we've just had this massive rally, and then there was the news on the weekend. I was watching Bitcoin then, and it rallied as well. So when I was going through my scanners for this new indicator that we have called the Go No Go indicator that just helps us classify trends very systematically, I noticed that Coinbase was in it. So I thought I'd do a little breakdown for you guys and why that's going to be one of the names I am watching this morning. So the first slide, just going to quickly wrap up what this indicator does. It's a weight of the evidence style approach. So it takes a whole bunch of the trend indicators you all know and love, moving averages, MACDs, Bollinger Bands, Donchian channels, all of that, and it simply just ranks the stock based off of how many of those are pointing up and how many of those are pointing down. So how many bullish indicators versus how many bearish. The more blue the indicator is, then the more bullish, and the more pink or purple the indicator is, the more bearish it is. So that's just the broad overview. So of course, not only do we have the charts for it, we have scans for it. That's mostly what we do over here at Trade Ideas. So first of all, I wanted to bring Coinbase up, and just it was showed up on a daily scan, but I always want to start with a weekly chart or a longer term chart. And you can see this very nice wedge or flag or something like this that was happening. And if you notice that when we're inside that flag, the candles are still blue, but they're a lighter blue, and this is indicating a weak go trend or a uptrend, something that you necessarily don't want to short right now, but maybe you kind of want to wait before you get involved if you're more of a momentum trader. A nice pullback in that trend. So still more indicators are pointing higher, but maybe not all of them, right? And then last week, as we closed and we broke out of this triangle, that turned to a strong go or a dark blue indicator, showing us that all of the indicators that we are looking at are saying your go to potentially look for this one to take a long trade on. And again, the thing I love about this, as opposed to other indicators, it's not cluttering up my chart. So I can very easily see the patterns and the trend, because that's, for me, how I normally trade. You guys know you generally don't see a lot of indicators on my charts, and that's why I want to see the price action. So nice breakout here. We all know what Coinbase does. Coinbase will benefit if the Ethereum ETF is approved. I've heard talk about a Solana ETF now, and maybe even a Ripple ETF. They are the custodian for all of this, right? So these BlackRock Vanguards, they got to put the crypto somewhere, and a lot of them are choosing Coinbase. So that's kind of the fundamental thesis behind it, is that the more of these ETFs that come out, that's fantastic, even if people are no longer trading the crypto, because they're getting paid just to hold and to be custodians for the ETF. So that's the weekly chart. Now we break into the daily chart, and this is where the scanner picked it up. So you can see most of this week. And note that big tech had that big sell-off this week or last week, and most of that week we had orange bars. So orange bars represent neutral. They're not blue and they're not pink. So it's saying that about half of the indicators are pointing higher and about half the indicators are pointing lower. There's no real trend here. It's not really something that you want to get involved in. But on Friday, we had that nice move in Bitcoin, and we had a nice blue print of this go indicator. And then I drew in my smiley face because it looks like we may be having a little smiley face action here, and you guys know how much I love that. So nice weekly chart, nice daily chart, and now we're into this one here, which is just the 30-minute chart, which is more of how I execute and manage risk. You can see a very clean level there at 264-ish, 265. That area is going to be the area that I'm going to watch. I think we're a little bit above that in the pre-market, but we're moving around a little bit here in the pre-market. But you can also see that the last handful of candles are now blue, showing that, okay, we're in a strong trend on the weekly. We're entering a trend on the daily chart, and we're in a strong trend on the 30-minute chart. So all signs are looking for a go. So I'm looking to get a couple of these 30-minute candles above this 265-ish area. That's where I'm going to get involved. Worst case stop, I'm looking like 240 or so, where those pink bars are on that last pullback. And then if I'm right, then who knows with Coinbase, right? That's another reason that I can use this indicator, is as long as it remains in a go trend on the daily chart, I'll probably continue to hold it. As soon as a lot of those indicators start to turn negative, then it's probably time to exit. So last slide, as Brendan was talking about, not only are we having a test drive, which allows you for a very small price, and you can start right now. You can come in, you can try Trade Ideas. Obviously, go to tradeideas.com/tradertv to get started there. And you can start to play around with the software. You can play with this indicator I was just talking about. All of our scans are artificial intelligence that's suggesting you day trades all day long, all of that kind of stuff. And on top of that, just to make things super interesting, we have the ability to paper trade. So we have these contests that I love. You can see the leaderboard in real time. I like shoutcast play-by-plays over them. They're super, super fun. And that's from the 24th into the 26th. And if you win $3,000. So for all of these contests, we like to put nice little guardrails in just to kind of change the rules and keep it interesting. All of the trades will be coming from our AI. Now, if the AI puts out a pick and you don't like it, You can fade it. You can trade around it. So maybe buy a bit, sell a bit, trade in the trend. However you want to trade it, you can absolutely do it. But all the trades are going to come from our AI just to keep everyone trading the same group of stocks and see who's better at the ins and outs that you see the guys on the desk do all the time.
If anyone wants more information, either on trade ideas or this new indicator, best place is on Twitter to find Mr. Noss, yes?
Absolutely. And then also info at trade-ideas.com. We got an awesome support staff there waiting for you.
Great stuff. We'll see you again after the close.
Talk to you then.
Yeah, thanks again, Michael. Cool idea, a great idea there. Love that contest idea with the AI, and then generate some ideas. I get a lot of people in our chat, in our community, in our trading community are probably interested in coin today, if not just because like Bitcoin of the rally, ETH, the rally, the volume that's been on this, and then the move on Friday was pretty spectacular for coin. I mean, Mara had a good day too, but pretty spectacular move there for Coinbase. You already are testing on the daily. I mean, Michael pointed all of this out, but it's kind of hard to ignore this triple top at $265. Coin's up 1 point. If it gets there, you're up in that range. You'd be about 3.5% to the upside, 3 to 3.5%, which we know coin can do more than that. So this is a break all week worth watching at 265 on Coinbase. Just very quick, we had a super chat from Donnie Zimbabwe I wanted to get to. You're bullish on the Qs, Donnie. And first of all, thank you for the super chat, Donnie. We appreciate all of our viewers. It's hard to disagree. I'm going to assume you like the fact that the Qs made this double bottom July lows are pretty much the same as the June bounce spot, around 475. You're looking at what, like you like 81 to 83 calls. If this was the stock, pretty sure we'd just be looking at like 82 breaks with room to get up a couple of points. So from a support and resistance spot, I mean, the market looks very similar to a lot of the names that we might pull up when we go over our rundown, which is dipped into support, now trying to bounce off it. You got the 50 period out there as well. But that, coin is much more likely to be a trade, that 265 looking mighty, mighty spicy. Let's go to Adair, get some upgrades and downgrades.
Abercrombie and Fitch kicking things off here, getting this upgrade from JP Morgan Chase. With American Express after their earnings last week getting an upgrade from Oppenheimer, Schlumberger getting an upgrade from Wedbush, and last but not least on the upgrade side, Stifel upgrading International Foods and Fragrances. For downgrades, CrowdStrike kicking off the list here. We know we had those issues with their system update causing an outage last week. Guggenheim downgrading. We also had Piper Sandler getting a price target decrease. So CRWD definitely on watch. Estee Lauder getting a downgrade from Raymond James. Truist here downgrading Comerica, and then we have Lennar ending the list here, getting a downgrade from Goldman Sachs. Some interesting names on this list, guys.
I forgot who we had on. I know Mateo in the back will know this one because remember I was talking about Schlumberger, and I was like, what is this stock doing so low down here? And that we were running into this support. I mean, I'm just looking at it now. I didn't buy any of this. I just remember talking about it. It came across some scanners, and I was like in the oil and energy space, and was like, I think we like some Schlumberger down here. And I actually remember even trying to, ask Gemini or Perplexity or something more about this company when I first started looking at it. And it wasn't too long ago. It was back in the middle of the summer. I mean, I guess that's kind of where we are now. But mid-June, I mean, huge move up for SLB. So we'll have to, again, look to find out more about this name as it approaches the 200 period. And just hits it and fades back in underneath this $50 level. So Schlumberger, I mean, a good stock that just bounced off of a great level and looking to get back going here. So, out of all of those upgrades and downgrades, I mean, that would be one that I would look at. And then the other name that's sort of, I think this was on the list maybe even on Thursday or Friday as well, and that was American Express, as that's had such a nice rebound as well. And that's why I sort of throw my hands up because, I mean, this stock just continues to be real. Yeah, we're going to have a bad wick up there, making it look a little bit less. But anyways, yeah, great little bottoms there as you go. I mean, into the market from last year was an easy one at 140. Look back at that. A lot of stocks look great. But this has held the 50-period moving average as well. So on any dip buy opportunities, like we might have got one on Friday, down into here into 237. I mean, that's a great level, 230. And then if you lose this 220, 215, which would still be bad. That's about 10% lower than where we are now. Then you'd be in trouble. But I think American Express with a strong consumer, seems to be in the right space. It's just we got to still believe that these credit card payments can get made.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everyone can see on that downgrade list, probably not the first downgrade we'll see of CrowdStrike, and we'll get into that probably a lot when we talk about the watch list in there. But yeah, not surprising that we get a downgrade here on CrowdStrike. We don't have to tell you guys the news. You know what's up with it already. But I do like that AXP. You know, that's one of the more gentle upward trends, and you're getting a decent pullback in it. So if it levels off, AXP, I mean, Sean had the chart up just a second ago, but if that starts to level off a little bit after the last recent run, it's not dissimilar to some of the banks when they're pulling back. Oh no, daily chart hates me. It's not dissimilar to some of the banks where you just get a strong move up, pull back into prior support, which I guess turned into resistance as well, or resistance that turned into support, and you're getting another bit of a bounce. And all you have to do is hold that same low. So if these are your cup of tea, I think usually when we look at the banks and in the credit card names, it's in and around earnings. For us as day traders, we're always going to try and follow the volume. But from a technical standpoint, these two do tend to line up pretty well there. As I said, I mean, CrowdStrike, Nvidia, Tesla, and Coinbase, obviously, with that 265, not that we're guaranteed to get there, but you could do worse than trying to buy some dips, I think, in some of the financials.
A couple of things to keep in mind here.
Now it loads.
Just discussing briefly there. Chinese ADRs in general higher across the board. EVs specifically to the upside. This is XPeng, better part of 4% here. More details coming out on Sunday regarding the Volkswagen tie-up, including a location now that they've announced for the HQ, where they will design and manufacture some of the architecture, it looks like, for this new model that's going to be released in China. Again, Volkswagen teaming up with XPeng on that. So NIO higher, Li Auto to the upside as well.
Yeah, good look for the Chinese EVs today. We'll have to get more information on that joint venture now that there is between XPeng and Volkswagen. But really what's pumping up these names is the overnight rate for interest rates there in China being cut by the People's Bank of China. So here's what they did. They cut the 7-day reverse repo rate from 1.8 to 1.7, but it was really here the 5-year LPR rate that they reduced from 3.95 to 3.85. Multiple other cuts as well, Brendo, but basically trying to add some more QE.
You think we'll get two in a row here coming up on, I think it's Wednesday, is the next Bank of Canada.
Whew, that is a good one because I know that I was looking at an interesting article. The amount of loans coming up next year for renewal, Brendo, is a bit tough, and a lot of people may not qualify for the mortgages that they currently have based on the stress test. So I think that they really don't have a choice.
I saw an article this morning said 90%.
Oh yeah,
They're going to go again, two in a row here for Bank of Canada. But yeah, I mean, these are nowhere near as exciting as they once were to trade on a short-term basis, but even 3% here for NIO today, guys.
Yeah, the Bank of Canada is under pressure there. It's a little different, the way that rates sort of, or the way that mortgages reprice and renew here in Canada than is the U.S. So they're under a lot more pressure politically, not that they're supposed to be to raise rates. NIO, I feel like $5 is just teasing us, unfortunately. So like the weird thing about NEO is if you've just been fading the $5 level, you've been doing pretty good. Like last week, that's pretty much what you wanted to do the last couple of days. It's gapped up here, and it was a nice double top. But the volume, my litmus for NEO is it doing $1 million in volume pre-market? And I'm not seeing $1 million in volume. That said, if it gets up to $5 somehow and things start to pick up, that has been the level that you've wanted to trade off of. I think you just sort of stick with that. And I want to see a little bit more volume than this. It's a little bit disappointing as far as I'm concerned. It's oddly enough, the other name in this space that's moving and gapping a little bit higher is just, and a little bit stronger, I would say, is XPeng. And XPeng a little closer to its top. If it gets through like 9.5, and this is probably not a today thing, because again, volume not really that big, but XPeng higher low, hold to 50 period, but has yet to make that next breakout. So it's got the whole stair-step thing. $8 is now turned into support after holding last week. And then you could break it out at $9.50. But again, that's more an idea for when it's imminent. That doesn't seem imminent to me. If I had to bet money which stock has a better chance of breaking out this week on a good-looking chart, XPeng 950 or Coinbase 265, I'm making that bet on Coinbase every single day. And if Coinbase never breaks, you don't have to trade it. But I'm not going to sit there staring at XPeng when I feel like Coin's going to be the place to go.
I want to just talk quickly about, we got a super chat in here about Intel. So this is from Ethan Dooley right here. Thoughts on Intel calls. So thank you so much for the super chat. So I was just looking at this, and I mean, you know, this was and is, I believe, one of those Trump stocks where you're going to get a lot of talk about keeping the chips and keeping a lot of the power here on the United States and on the soil. And Intel, of course, with all that work right now, does get a little bit of a bump up here last week. And I still really like this $30 level. I mean, how good of a hold should that be? I think it should be pretty good down there if you like the story in Chipland. I mean, to me, honestly, I don't know how long you're going out. I mean, I just think that when you're looking at names like this, you got to figure out, okay, how far out from earnings are we, right? And so when I'm going to look into here, when Trade Ideas loads up here, I had to restart it. We're going to find out when Intel earnings are, and I think that you're going to play it. Here it comes right here. That says Snapchat, but we're going to change this over to Intel. And let me just find out, because I think that that's something important. So August 1st, so couple weeks, next week or late next week. So we're going to find out what Intel's all about. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, they've already sort of pushed out their dates, right? And I think some of the bad news obviously baked into here. Feels like you got some good support there. To me, though, if I was going to pick a name, so the Intel calls, I think up to the 200 period is a good level, right? Like I think $38, if there's anything happens there on the call, I think a 10, 15, 20% boost from now till August 1st could happen. That's 38. I would think that would be what you want to look at. But then I would just say this, and not just because I'm looking at Nvidia now myself, it's more just that you've had a huge dip down into here and good support. This 117, 118 held when we flipped over on the reverse. So I think that this level here on what's been a pretty bad week or so for the NASDAQ, and we've held 117, I almost think Nvidia calls back up to the 130s, mid 130s is maybe a little safer than Intel calls. But again, yeah, I think the chip space is something to look at. And then if you really thought that some of this China worriness or whatever is maybe behind us with some of this Intel or some of this Nvidia news, why not just maybe get some SOXL calls as well? Because these are back into a lot of good support here at $45, $46. I really like this level here to hold. So I think you can get some value here in SOXL. Again, a highly levered ETF, so you'll pay a little bit more in premium for those. But those are some different names that I like here. Still like Coinbase. I actually really like Intel, even just for a trade today. Like if we can hold this $33 area right down here, that what we did on Friday, I mean, that should be a reason for this name to go up. Little concerned that we're only up half of what the market's up. So I think a dip down into 33 is something to look at here for Intel today.
All right, let's get into everything else we need to know here on a Monday morning. We'll kick things off with a look at the market.
55.53, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on Friday yesterday. I meant Friday on the ES September contract. I'll get it right. To the support side, we'll look at 55.50. We bounced off there multiple times. No closing prints below that 50-point level. To the high side as resistance, we're closing in on that 5,600, 55.92, the overnight high. Let's see if we can make it up there.
Yeah, big support coming into play here. If you haven't done so, go down to the description of this video right now. Hit the link for the watch list, enter your email address, and then you get that every single morning delivered right to your inbox. Has everything you need to know on it. Pre-market daily, let's go with Nvidia to kick things off this morning. Back at the top here, back to the upside, back at the top of the range at that, 2.25% already, trying to test those highs this morning. Yeah, reportedly developing a new version of its flagship AI chip specifically to get around some of these Chinese markets restrictions from the Biden administration, as you were mentioning earlier. Coming off, though, if you zoom out, it was an entire week of downside action here. We held that 115, 120 area pretty hard, though.
Brendo, they have a real strong motivation here to build this chip because their Chinese revenue went down from 26% of total revenue down to 17 as a result of the chips embargo. So they're designing this new kind of pseudo Blackwell. It's called the B200. It's supposed to boast 30 times faster performance for specific tasks like chatbots, like the large language models. They're actually partnering with a Chinese firm called Inspur, and they want to launch this about Q2 of 2025. As I mentioned, they did sell about 1 million H20 chips in China, so the B20 will be looking to replace that.
There's not a lot of volume behind this, but just a heads up on Reddit, just popping up in front of me here. Reddit teaming up with NFL NBA to boost revenue, quote unquote. So again, Reddit teaming up with the NFL and NBA to boost revenue. That's from the information.
Yeah, we got. And when you get fantasy season coming around for the NFL, I mean, a lot of people are going to be on those Reddit boards trying to make those good picks. Wait for some details on that. I think that could be obviously spicy. Reddit's had a bit of a pullback that could be worth it. Let's do some work on Nvidia here. I think, if it comes down to 117 again, okay, great. Oops, that's not going to be split adjusted, but the 50 period on the daily SMA is going to be underneath that 117 level. So I think that's part of the reason we're getting a little bit of support. 3 days to end last week. You never got the break of 122.5 that we waited for. Obviously, no good. If it breaks out today, I think that'd be fantastic. I just want to look for that support to continue to hold. You got that 50 period in there. You have a decent news story. You're up 2% into a strong market. If it goes dip and rip, I feel it's unlikely you get the same level 3 times, but there's also Friday afternoon resistance was 119. And then Thursday afternoon support was 119, so that would be a higher low to look for. 120 kind of sits out there, although with Nvidia, I like to look for a deeper pull, dip and rip idea at the open. Typically, when it dips at the open, it tends to be, at least $1 or so. I think the same breakout's in play as Friday, if it happens to come in there, but the dip buy into 119, and then again at 117. It's just that simple. The other name in chipland that I'll be looking at, AMD in here, a little bit weaker, still up with that 1.5%. I do still feel like AMD has just been different from Nvidia. Underneath the 50 period, it's lost the 200 and then come right back in, but I'm still a bit more bearish on it. If it were to climb back in 158, you can see there's pretty clean. But more importantly, if there's a rip your face off bounce in the chip names and we get back into that top zone of 163 to 165 on AMD, that's a short. And it was the same thing I felt on, we never got anywhere near that on Friday. Obviously, it just pulled to the downside. But if there is a bigger rally that takes us 1% to 2% on the NASDAQ and Nvidia really makes that breakout and press, I can see AMD getting into that sell zone. I don't have an obvious sell zone for Nvidia the same way I like AMD up here in the low 160s.
Yeah, so I have very similar stuff here on Nvidia, but I mean for me it's pretty simple. I wrote it down here. We either get to 118 and we just hammer that long, or it breaks through 122.50. I don't really want to play with it too much in here. I'm not sure if there's going to be we just had key resistance 118 or 122.50. We have that China chip news. So do we have the catalyst? Yes, we do. And then do we have a good support level? Yes, we do. We have a great one down here at 118, I feel like. We bounced off there from Friday, late in the afternoon, so we like that play. Friday, no, this is that split day. Down here, 119, 120. This is the action from the weekend. I like it. I think there's the 122.50 break long. You have a gap fill back up to 126. So for me, this is the name. I mean, it's up 2.2%. There's no reason to shy away from a name like Nvidia here. Up huge, like the stock, like the name. I think Nvidia continues to work. So for me, a long here at 122.50 should be the break that we're looking for. We'll not be shorting this name today. And if we're lucky enough to get any dip buys, sometimes we play the dip back to VWAP, so that'd be 120.15. That could be a play that I make early, but I'd like to see it bounce a couple times first. So so far so good. I just worry that if you break 120, you could get some weak hands that flush out of that trade, and then that may wind us back into 118. So patience on this name, I think, will work out for us. So we're going to hold out hope that Nvidia breaks 122.50, because then it's a simple trade for me. Or we may have to dig in a little bit down here at 118. So I really, really like the stock. And I didn't write down any other. I mean, I have another name on here. It's going to be ARM, and we'll just talk about that as we go. But I like NVIDIA here today as well.
Tesla on a bounce here this morning as well to the tune of 2+% right now, trying to get back to highs through that 244. A couple of things of note. Yeah, more sales from Cathie Wood and ARC going back to Friday to the tune of 12.25 million of Tesla shares. On the downside as well, it's been it was a negative week last week, but Elon came out and said that 2026 Optimus going to be available for manufacturing and other plant type applications for other companies, but also said he's hoping by next year they will be operational in their facilities.
All things being held equal, Brendo, like a decent price, nothing too crazy. Are you an early adopter here?
I've already said 100%.
I love it.
Sign me up.
So originally playing, guys, for 2024, Optimus, low production, as Brendo mentioned, for next year, higher production for other companies by 2026. They did introduce the first generation Optimus, which they named Bumblebee, back in September of 2022. And they do report very soon, and they're expected, actually, Brendo, to have declining margins here as a result of price cuts and more CapEx.
Oh yeah, earnings this week as well.
Oh, yeah, just that.
A little small.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, it's this morning, there's not gigantic specific news catalysts. I think everyone's geared up for Tesla earnings. And obviously, if they're able to surprise, like when delivery surprised, I think everyone saw what happened to this thing. It went absolutely ham. If they can do the same thing again on the earnings front, I think that would be fantastic for them. On Friday, it lost 250, so that kind of stunk. Like, it lost 250 right at the pre-market. Like, it just broke down. It was a flat bottom break. So if it gets back into that zone, it was 48 to 50 is that sell zone. That looks like the short spot for myself, at least today. It needs to get in there, or you don't necessarily want to fight it. It's an eerily similar look on the chart to Nvidia as if it were to dip. Like, you have like a Friday resistance here at 41, and then a close like right in here. It's like 39 to 41. That to me would be the buy zone for Tesla. But I'm kind of geared up for this 50 test. Like, I think the market feels kind of strong, so it's diddling in the middle. I think longs right away are probably going to be reserved for me on potentially coin. Well, if it happens, it happens, and then Nvidia for sure. But if we get into that 50 zone, I'd be looking pop and fade. Kind of how I felt about the 258. Like, you almost have to be patient for it to get up there the last couple of days of the week, but when it did, it provides you with good opportunities. So that's the kind of look for Tesla. I love the Optimus concept. I'll be there on like generation 2 or 3, or once I know that it hasn't killed Brendan, and then, but that's a long ways away.
Yeah. All right. So again, this is going to be on my sticky note again, and yeah, we're going to try to always keep on names that we're going to talk about, right? So right here, it is going to be one of, and my number one trade idea today is going to be Tesla here at 240. I mean, I really, I like the name. I like the robot angle. It's just another one of those angles that we can sort of hang our hat on, whether or not you like it or not. It's something to talk about. And I think the internet will like it. I think Reddit will like it. I think people will start talking a bit. So again, we have just dip buys right now because the market's pretty heated here early. Tesla's obviously had a great little run, and look at this, man. Look how good this 238 looks like. I don't think we're going to get down to there, but could we get back to, up 1%, up 0.5%, which means we do get a dip buy into this 241, 240 area. So this is definitely a spot that I'm thinking about, a very key level here for Tesla. If you're going to look at a 20-minute chart, I mean, I still think we fill this. I mean, this is not even really a gap, but 245, I mean, that's just getting hit right now. And then look at this support down here. I mean, sure, we got hit, man. I mean, that robo-taxi was not a great story, that was potentially delayed a little bit there, as they were going to talk about it in August, and they still are. So nice move to the downside. You wait for it to flush out, then it flushes again and holds. So yeah, I mean, these are the longs I'm trying to take. I like this long. I like it getting back up here to 255, 256. The only thing is that we do have earnings tomorrow night, so that could dampen spirits of potential longs, as a lot of people don't want to be positioned before earnings. But yeah, technically, I really like the stock up here above 240. So that's a good long that I'm going to be looking at if we get some dip buy opportunities. So Tesla down here at 240 on the radar, on my screens, everything 1.5 million in volume right now. TSLA is something that a lot of traders like to trade as well, because it's only a $13 name. So if you want to put some more money in your pocket and not trade just maybe one name and get exhausted from your account because Tesla's $250, come over here to this. And it's just very, very similar. You could just play the same levels. So 240 down here would be roughly in and around 13.10 to $13, right? And so something here I think is worth looking at. And I don't know, for me, the amount of money to throw in these names doesn't really matter. But if you're more used to trading smaller price names, I think TSLA is probably something that I could get behind.
More negativity here this morning for CRWD, coming off a wild day on Friday, if you missed it, on that IT outage across the entire globe, anywhere from airlines to banking systems affected, depending on what country you were in. 288.50. Trying to hold here. It's session lows right now, pre-market lows, 5.25%. All the red you see over here are mostly negative analyst moves this morning on Crowd.
Yeah, it's a tough look. Drop 11% on Friday, more today. Brokerage firms believe this could not be a good look. Reduced new business signings in the near term as a result of this outage. Risk the CrowdStrike consensus Q4 annual revenue, and potential delays in the company's product line. So multiple downgrades today, as Brendo mentioned. There's also financial liability for this outage. A lot of these contracts with some of their users requires that they pay them out in terms of how much they lost. Stock is still up about 19% year to date. I should mention that Delta still has issues lingering from this because some of the software that they're using to schedule their flight attendants still not back up right now, even though most of the airlines were back up by Saturday.
I saw somebody said, it was late yesterday, Delta doesn't use technology anyway, so they shouldn't be affected by this, but I don't know. I've never flown with them.
No, neither have I, but they're supposed to be good.
I don't know. I think years ago I've flown Delta before, but no, it's not a good look for them at all. There is going to be some financial liability. I think, like we said on Friday, there is going to be a point where this finds a bottom and is able to recover, but the reputational damage, certainly in the short term, favors the other side of the trade. So you're underneath, oddly enough, you're underneath and now rejecting that bounce spot from Friday morning, where it got 290 and then immediately held like 294 and then bounced higher. You can see like afternoon support flipped into resistance up at about 310. I feel like it's pretty unlikely that we're able to get back in there. So all you have is this little bottom where it bounced about 298 that gives you a zone into 300. I'm thinking fade, can't tell. And then right away the 294, 295. If we do see the bottom and the overnight low, I know it was $280. That was a big level. That's the support for a potential SSR bounce. But it also tagged 270 if you looked at it overnight and early morning on Friday. So it's almost like 270 would be that SSR, like day two type, like bottom for me. And you got to look at those overnight levels sometimes with a grain of salt. But with an event like this, when it was actually trading pretty significantly Friday morning, very, very early, I think 270 is a reasonable play. I'm looking for fades first. It's going to be a pop and fade for me. Got one of the level twos dedicated for it. As long as it's underneath that lower high from Friday, that 310, it's going to be pop and fade on Crowd. And the other name out here is Microsoft. I want to get to Microsoft. Much stronger rebound in Microsoft, obviously, relative to CrowdStrike. And Microsoft has it's not a triple top, but you have Thursday's close, Friday's high, and then right here, right now, it is just holding the line at 441. So this is a clear over-under level for me. If we're breaking out above 441, I'm only thinking long recovery on Microsoft, but you can see the wall of resistance that's been there. If we're failing underneath, I think it's a place to join shorts. So Microsoft kind of barcoding here in the pre-market just underneath that key 441 level. Definite breakout candidate, but if it never breaks, no trade.
All right. I want to quickly look at CrowdStrike as well, because I do have this one on the, I have it on the note, but a very, very rough one. So, all right, what I want to talk about, I just wrote down something very, very simply, 300. I mean, it's not going to be rocket science. We saw CrowdStrike move around a lot, obviously on Friday, on that news of an upgrade gone wrong right there. So that's not a nice little story, but it still fades out here into 290 today. And again, we're already below that level that was holding off the open on Friday. So to me, it's a short. This is a short. Like I said, if you get away from all of this stuff here, whoa, like that kind of. And then we just did have a real nice bounce back on Friday. And you can't ignore data. I mean, it's here. This did happen. But like, I don't know, someone got really excited about this stock in and around 295 and bought it all the way back up to 310, right? We had this short here, which was really good back at, there's that fly. There's that fly again. Get away from me. But anyways, nice downside push, just keeps on going. So what we like to look is gaps back to VWAP. So I think that a short might be here even at 292. You know, something in and around here could be something. I thought 300 when I wrote this. No, we are up here. Let's see if it can go. I'm more thinking maybe 295 or so. Yeah, getting it with that chopstick might be hard to do that. But I wish you best of luck.
It's old school Karate Kid, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
was it one or two where
Daniel's son?
It's a Karate Kid 1 where he.
I think it must be 1 because I think it's such an iconic.
I'm not gonna get it with this. I'm gonna smash it. I have nothing to smash it with. Actually,
that's hilarious.
No, we don't have a fly swatter. I have nothing to roll up to be able to get it, and I don't want to hit it with my. Yeah. Barbaric can just do it with my hands, maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Flick it out. Flick it over to Ramin over there. See what's going on. All right, no Fabian today. So Ramin's under the gun.
Yes.
And doing an average job, I'd say, so far today. Right.
Ouch.
Oh man, we're always having fun around here. All right, let's go back over to the desk.
All right, let's go on to DJT trying to hold 35 this morning. I mean, it was a lot higher, obviously, early on this morning. Here we go, though. Back to the upside right now after what happened over the weekend. Worth a watch today. Nothing specific on the stock itself, however.
No, obviously not with the reports coming out of the Democratic Party yesterday. Obviously, this will be in play to see, if anybody is taking a bigger position. Just remind you guys that Donald Trump owns about 64.9 exactly of TMTG, which owns Truth Social. He has about 114 million shares. The high of this ticker got up to 79 1/3 post-merger and a low of 22.55 on April 16th.
Thoughts, guys, for DJT here?
So, in preparation just in case, I did pay for locates on DJT, and when you look at it, I mean, it's actually not terrible technically the last couple of days. So ignore the crazy big move and then give everything up on the gap up on the 15th, last week on Monday. But then every other day that week, you basically bounced into 38, 39 resistance sell. And it had support here at about $36. So when I zoomed in on today, I was showing you guys kind of the close 35 and then the holding at 35. But the other point would be this 36. That was where the support was. It's turned into a bit of a resistance spot. So there are some actual pop and fade ideas. I'm going to put this on the back burner after the other names that we like today: Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, Coin, Crowd. Those are the 5 that I'm watching at the open. This will be on the back burner for any kind of fade off of 36 or maybe that 39 on a big, strong move to the upside. I think when you zoom out on this, when it shows you the range and that there's clear sellers every time it gets above 38, well, the breakout's easily above this 39 level or maybe even 40. And if it pops into that 38, 39, that would be a sell zone there for DJT. Not terrible volume. 700,000 is not bad for DJT, but not really the top of the list here yet. I mean, it could always break out. We've seen it do it before.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really write down anything about DJT. I mean, I don't know. It's 700,000, which is pretty nice. There's no doubt it could be a mover here today, but we're just gonna have to wait to see what winds up holding. 34.50 could be a level. I'm just not.
34.50.
I'm not super excited about it. I mean, we've seen some good news stories come through about President Trump and the campaign and whatnot. And now today, I just don't know what to think about what a lot of, I don't know, has the odds increased for a Republican victory here or not? I don't know. I feel like it was more of a clear path to maybe beat Biden. But so I feel short on this name today, but again, it's not one that I'm very familiar with trading. I mean, I would just more like to say that GameStop, if we're just because we're talking about some of these names that can pop and drop and flop and all that stuff. So GameStop, another name here that's just, if there's one that actually makes sense to me and, as trading support and resistance, I mean, this name hasn't broken below 2250 for a while. That could come into play on a move down, right? And then you do have some support, and then ultimately 18 coming into play. Now, you know, it's a $24 name today, so you don't want to think that we're going to get to 18. But could we get to that 2250 area? Yeah. I mean, nice little downside push here, and then just got bought back up. I wonder if GameStop does have some of these levels to look at right here. So 50 period, we've now broken below, so I can see some pressure coming into the name. Let's try, I would rather try something that's held before, 2250 here on GameStop. So that would be a level, if I'm going to be playing in the space today, it would probably be on a GameStop or AMC.
AAL up there on the board. There's a downgrade if anyone was wondering, not really doing a heck of a lot. Let's talk crypto here to wrap things up, though, to the upside off the events over the weekend in the U.S. presidential race, 1.19% higher here for Coinbase so far. Some of the mining names, however, also to the upside as well, 1.93 here for Mara, Riot looking similar.
Yeah, Brendo, I mean, Donald Trump signaled a favorable stance towards cryptocurrencies. We know that he expressed interest in having the remaining Bitcoin mined within the United States, and that we've seen the miners really move on that, the Hut 8, the CleanSparks, the Riot, the Maras, as well as some others, looking at basically onshoring, nearshoring the mining policy over here. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, but obviously a good look for crypto to start the week.
Yeah, including these ETFs. It was monster day on Friday across the board, but ETFs all gapping higher here as well.
It was very, very impressive what crypto was doing last week. There's no question about it. So, you know, next level up, 68.4 on Bitcoin specifically, kind of holding on to this breakout. And I think you're still stair-stepping up. So there, you know, 68.4, there you go. And maybe put up an hourly chart so you can get a higher time frame look. Just nicely stair-stepping to the upside, higher lows, lower, you know, higher highs, all that kind of good stuff that you want out of it. And Coinbase gearing up. I mean, it was a huge day on Friday. I keep wanting to say yesterday. And there's your triple top. I don't know why when I keep drawing this at 264, I keep forgetting to save it. But that's just a triple top break. You heard Michael Noss talk about this one. Coin actually still has a decent enough short float as well. So if it gets above, it's a breakout. And if it doesn't, I'm not really looking to fade off of that level. I guess sometimes you look at a resistance level like that, and it's like, yeah, you should try to fade out in front of it first. But really just looking for the break. And anything out and above that, the buyers step up. I think you want to be joining them even if the break doesn't work. And if we don't get there, I mean, 250 seems like a logical round number, but almost just underneath that would be a much deeper support. The most obvious would be like here at 255, like go into Wednesday's top and Thursday's higher support. But it's got to take out this 264 up top on Coinbase. I think that's the big level.
Yeah, so we have crypto coming through right here, right now. I want to give a big shout out to my lovely daughter who's watching and who made me this Hockey Dad bracelet. So now we have blue on blue on blue. So we have Hockey Dad. We have a couple other things here today. She did great. She went, I think, 3 for 3 on the weekend. Her new position, because it was a pitching machine, there was no catcher. Ooh. So she was like excelling at first base.
Nice.
So big shout out to that right there. And she's now just reached her 8,000 shot mark as well for taking shots in the backyard in the last couple months. So that was pretty good. Problem is my wife has promised her a pedicure when she gets 10,000. So she's getting ready for that one.
Okay.
So that should be
get the goals.
Where's my money thing? I can't even drop them down. Okay. All right. Anyways, Bitcoin right now. We only have a couple minutes to go, but Bitcoin looking like it wants to hold right here, 68 and change. Let's see that breakout. I really think you could break through 68.5. So there it goes, a nice breakthrough, 68.5. That's what I'd be looking for today. It's been a good hold down here at 66, 66.5 for BTC. This is a 1 hour chart. You go to the daily chart. I mean, look how strong this name is. This is the best week since March for crypto. So huge move back up. One of the worst weeks for crypto, then one of the best weeks, showing strength down here. We love this $60,000 range for crypto, but we got to go over to Sharif with only a minute left.
Talking about gaps all this week, Sean. We're going to get a little introduction today, and then we'll get more nuanced with it as the week goes on. So if you're into that kind of thing, join Adira and I on How to Trade at 11.
All right. There you go. Thank you very much there. I saw a few people asking about Tellurian and all the heat that it has this morning. So we'll get this one quickly out of the way before the open here. Tell's being bought for $1 cash. So I feel like the volatility in this, if you're expecting a gap and go, it's up 67%. It is being bought for $1 in cash. If it gets to $1, probably worth like a fade trade in there. But I'm not expecting gap and go ideas or anything like that. I myself might be looking for the dollar fade. You can see it's only holding a 1 cent range. But let's watch. Look, Tesla, Nvidia, Coinbase at the open are going to be the big ones. Obviously, the only big imbalance was NIO for 700,000 to buy. They're gapped up a little bit with some of the other Chinese ADRs. So watch out for, if you're trading those, watch out for the open NIO, about 700,000 to buy, nothing else. So let's watch these big names here as we get to the countdown. We got 2 and 1, Adara, ring it.
All right, we're now open right now. Welcome to the party. Party is on. So, all right, quick little look at here at one of our first trades that we like to look at was going to be Tesla. Tesla right now is making that move to the high side, still up 2%. So, whoa, I'm on the wrong thing here. There goes Tesla. So, nice move, taking out the day's high. There it is, taking out recent highs, Tesla. We're not in it. We were going to wait for some dip opportunities, but the market's coming down right now, and Tesla is going up. So we didn't have any short ideas really to look at today other than CrowdStrike. So we could have that look right here, but here comes not Intel. Here comes Nvidia down to that 120 marker. We did mention this as a possible buy zone for us trying to bounce off VWAP right here early. But will the market hold is really the ultimate question. And here comes 120 right now. So yeah, market fading back into the 50 period. VWAP down here at 19.9.
Oh, that might have been it at 280 on Crowd. Crowd just tagged $280 in his attempting amounts. Remember, it was down more than 10% on Friday, so it's going to be short seller restricted. Oh, no, never mind. There's your lack of bounce. 280 second time through. We could see that 270 for sure here. So Nvidia pulling 120. Coinbase no breakout. CrowdStrike, wow, there's the wick back through the 280 level. SSR bounce definitely in play here for CrowdStrike. That was quick. I looked away for 2 seconds to Nvidia.
All right, we're in NVIDIA right now, so hit the sirens. Oh, I don't have my thing up. So we have our first trade of the day. I got to get Stream Deck going. We are long off this 120. We did talk about liking this level here just because it dipped into VWAP, but that was a little bit aggressive. So I'm going to use like this 200 period moving average here as a stop. Really not expecting this one to... all right, there it is. It's up. Not expecting this one to work out too much for me, but, well, I'm expecting it to work out, but we're already out of right now about 15% of it. Up here as we did make a move back into the 20s. So right now we're long at 08s. I do have a bid lower as well. If it does come in through 120, we'll see if we can take that bid because that was a good little spot. My next offer's here in the 40s. Let's see if that one works. And then the name that we never got to because we kind of ran out of time there. I really liked ARM. So I written down here ARM Holdings down at 162. That just dipped in here to 164. So as we said, the market not super healthy here to start. But, you know, nice opportunity to bounce back up. So Tesla, the big name for me as well, moving, but not moving down. So we're going to have to wait to see if we do get a retracement back here to VWAP. But for me right now, it's NVIDIA. It's the long position that we have. And we'll just look for more buying opportunities. Maybe I'll probably stay away from the chips until NVIDIA settles down. But I do see that AMD is pushing lower here.
Yeah, AMD pushing lower. Okay, CrowdStrike is really starting to come back. Off this 280 level. I'm just looking for it to hold a level. It's finally starting to do so. I might take the shot off the 280 the second time, the third time through, I should say. So here comes the 280 on Crowd. Was able to just get in there. Oh, I wanted to add if it could hold. So we're breaking higher on CrowdStrike, looking 282 and then 285 is the key spots. VWAP or Trace would actually be 285 on Crowd, but SSR bounce in plays. We're about to go to Adara.
Small cap day two runner and watch your Serve Robotics SERV on Friday. Nvidia disclosed a stake in this company, 62,500 shares, an average price of $4 a share. In addition to some promissory notes, Nvidia has a total stake of about 10% in SERV. So this one trying to climb for a second day, 62% to the upside. Serve Robotics SERV, guys.
All right.
Wow, Crowd is a little bit heavy. So Crowd went 80 to 82, right back into 80. When I say heavy, I mean the offer is pushing the stock to the downside. But the bounce came back through the 80 level. I thought if that broke, we'd see 70s, but it's now bouncing. So if it gets to 85, we got to be happy with it for sure. Coinbase, still nothing on Coinbase. Though Tesla, come on, hold this 281. If it holds 281, I think we see 285 here on Crowd. Tesla is getting into the zone to the upside, so no dip buy on Tesla because it's ripping. but 246 to 250.
Yes, sir.
250 is that line in the sand. Sorry, 248 to 250. If it gets in there, looking for the fade in front of 250, absolutely flying here is Tesla to the upside. 3% now.
Oh, man, we going to the beach already? I don't know, man. It's 122.60 right here. We got a nice little 50-cent winner on Nvidia. So if you guys are playing calls or anything like that, I don't know how they move this early in the morning, but there it is. It's a nice move back upside. So if you did buy these dips that we had talked about, again, our number 2 idea, obviously Tesla was our number 1, is now 70 cents in the money. And there it goes for Nvidia. So 1 trade, 1 win right now on NVDA. We're out of half. Am I out of half? Yeah, I'm out of half. Out of half. Whoa. That's why. We just got that fill right there. So we just got to fill up there at 70. So that's where we are right now. So we are out of half of NVIDIA, but it is going to be, it looks like it may be your first Dollar Club winner, but this thing is moving like not pennies. This thing's moving dimes. Like there we go. We'll take a piece out there as we get another 20% out here on NVIDIA as it pumps up there. There it is. It's official right now. What's up to Max? There it is. We'll send that Lambo as we take out 121 there on NVIDIA. What's up, eh?
Sentinel-1 here up more than 10%. This one is a cybersecurity firm traded a bit higher as well on Friday after the CrowdStrike outage. Currently looks like a continuation of this move to the upside. $6.8 billion market cap, 3.6% short float. S, guys.
S? Go and give it to you? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I do like Sentinel. All of those ancillary names are certainly worth a shot. We talk about the other cybersecurity names getting a benefit and a bump, but we said it was getting a little bit heavy on crowd. It ended up only giving the $2 bounce. I got out on the way back through that 280, so we got in 280 to 282. We're now out of it, looking for the next available pop if we're able to get it there. We mentioned Tesla going to the upside. Still having some big power moves here in CrowdStrike. This is where my eyeballs are for this maybe secondary SSR bounce. It just double tapped 277.50. I don't know if that's the low. That I wasn't looking at that level. I kind of look at the evens, the 80s, the 75s, the 70s. If it can get back down again, maybe another test of this triple bottom worth a re-entry.
All right, I was waiting at I was waiting at 121.15. I wasn't sure if that was going to get hit, and then it gets hit immediately. Look, guys, we're already ready to go. I mean, I just shut out my daughter. Maybe I'll go see her. 9:36 right now, 1 trade, and that's that. So we've done it. That was the 1 trade that we were looking for. So that is my trade of the day right here, happening right away early. We'll try to get some more, but when you write these things down and you do the work, and it was our number 1 story today, was the chip names. We had the chip story. We had the catalyst. We had the levels. We had everything. There's NVIDIA. Nice little VWAP dip buy opportunity, and that's exactly what we do right now. And now it's $1.40 in the money, but as DJ says right here, we need to find another one right now. So let's try to do that. Hey, let's take something out here at 45 on NVIDIA and see if we can get that going. And again, if you are with Real Trading, this is 1 trade. 1 trade in and 1 trade out. So just like Neil's CrowdStrike there, which was a good one, we're going to see if we can have NVIDIA continue the sort of, you know what, are you having a hard time up here, my guy? All right, we'll cancel that. We'll take it out at 40 instead of 45. Good trade alert right there as we will floss it off and get one in. Good trade. We'll wait to see if there's something else that hits. The other name that I was looking at here that I wrote down was Amazon. The thing is that I wrote down 182, and you know where it just bounced off of? 182.80. So we are getting close into those levels of concern for Amazon. But again, you know, I think we can wait. We've got the one on that we need. Shopify was upgraded last week. We could see this one back down to $63. That's interesting. Was thinking it was going to be going the other way. Shopify right now holding the 50-period moving average and not doing a heck of a lot. I guess that would have just came on my scanner with VWAP right there. So yeah, man, a couple good trades early. I know that we found
250 Tesla.
250 for Tesla. Yeah, I mean that was our number 1 trade, but we wanted the long on a dip buy. Good catalyst. We knew that trade was there, but are you in it? I couldn't get it.
Not well. Well, I might be in the short. In a second or so, or if we actually pop in at 250, look, you got to make the trade that's there. We wanted a dip buy, dip buys into Tesla at support. If you found it, you had to be in it right away. Maybe like a break of 245 would have been the way to go. So 250 is incoming. I just got the halves on the short. We had to wait for it. It could do a break. If it breaks it out and fails under 250.50, I probably try to do the whole wick out and jump back into it. And it pulls back. 248 is the first line. That was the other top of the zone. But we like this 248 level. If it comes back, we're going to look to get some out in that range. CrowdStrike is still trying to hold that 277. So it looks to me like 77, not 75, might be the place to go. And we see that Mira and other things moving, Serve and MIRA. But Tesla 250, just a bit of a bigger fish to fry for me at this particular point. Looking for a place to add either on a fail break or consolidation under here on TSLA. And if you're looking at TSLL, I mean, obviously moving the same way. But this is a big spot here for Tesla. Big time rocket ship to the upside.
All right. This is trying to fall back below 121 right now. So we only have on about 30% left of this trade. Let me take a piece out right here at 97. All right, so there it is. So now we'll have, you know, that 25% left of this trade and see if it can rip up for the rest of the day. Let's find out what's happening with ARM. Okay, so ARM's still nice upside mover as well. Right now, continuing to go. NIO did break a little bit here. All right, come on. We're starting to go higher here for Nvidia. I can go back and have a look at that. So here's NIO. We did look at it a little bit. It did break above this 460 area. So there's a potential there to come in much higher relative volume today for NIO. So a nice move higher again. But some of those ticks, just market on open imbalances. We talked a little bit about that. But let's see if NIO has its sort of gap and go type of thing here where we've, you know, not much of a gap, but we went up about 10 cents there. Nice move up 5% here. Okay, we still have a quarter left of Nvidia, but 121.50 coming into play here again for Nvidia. Look, this is your big trade of the day for me. We only have one on. It's Nvidia, and the Neil was just mentioning again. I know we're just looking at a couple
It's through 250 names. Now. It broke that top, so I'm out looking for. If it fails back underneath, we're willing to be wicked out and try it one more time, but it has to fail here. So there's the selling coming right back in. It's back underneath the 30 level, the 50 level, I should say. The local high is still 250.50. So this is the trade that we waited for. Obviously, we're going to end up having to miss so long. But you just like I said, you have to go with the next available trade. It goes into the resistance spot. So we'll go 0 for 1 on Tesla and then look for the retracement the second time through. Do want to be grabbing outs in front of that 48, just to reiterate. Going to be a big zone for it. All right, starting to come back down a little bit. CrowdStrike, don't want to ignore. CrowdStrike just made another fresh low. It's getting close to 275.
What?
275 would be the next zone to the downside. It's irrelevant whether it goes down 10% today. It's short sell restricted. Regardless. And again, we wanted this one short, but we thought we would short the pop. So bye-bye Tesla. We'll slap the fail. It's through that 250 zone. It was a fail not getting long, but also a fail on that short opportunity, but just have to move to the next name on the list, which is Crowd. $1 away from this 275. You're falling like an absolute rock here on CrowdStrike. Another double-digit morning, potentially for CrowdStrike.
All right, yeah, that's, man, that's, wow. Okay, here we go. We are now $2 in, we have one trade on today. It's $2 in the money, and it's going higher, and it's Nvidia, and there it goes again. We're waiting up here at 121.93. I was like, you know what, let's get something out around 122. You know, we had written down here, and this is something that I'm trying to get better at. We wanted the Tesla long, and if we missed it there, oh my. Wow, what a face slapper over here, Professor. We've got one on Nvidia. This is a big trade for us. Like I said, we ain't going to no beach, but if you do have this trade, you know, you might want to go enjoy some of the summertime right now, but stay tuned to Trader TV Live all day, man. Watch us on mobile. We have a great mobile feed. We're really, all right, let's just go over to Adara.
Cassava Sciences here. This one is at high of day right now, about 19% SAVA. Earlier today announcing that their phase 3 trial for their Alzheimer's treatment is expected to be concluded by December 2024, and they're looking for the trial to end here in June 2025. So some trial updates here for SAVA, 27.3% short float, guys.
Yeah, Sava's a big float. Wow, again, CrowdStrike goes right up. It actually held 275 here, got it back through 276.5 as it tried to get through this 279 level. So every single time it makes the bounce, I get an even dollar level. This time I get the $0.50 through, was able to scalp some out the first dollar, but looking at this resistance zone at 279 and gonna try to jump out there. You are heavy into the bid. And now that it's held this, I'm going to move my stop up to this 275, just underneath 276. As long as it's continuing down, we're going to grab scalp trade out and then wait for a more defined bottom. So we'll take our money and run, but this is still falling into the downside very heavily on CrowdStrike. Surprising. I kind of felt it would have a little bit more pep in its step. You've been able to find a couple of bids, but it's not really sustaining the bids at this moment. So you got to take the money out when you get the opportunity on Crowd. That break is definitely incoming on Nvidia. Great trade over there, but that 122.50 coming into play. Got to watch CrowdStrike, still above 275. So it's still in the pocket for me for the SSR bounce. Don't want to miss it if it gets to VWAP.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thanks, Neil, for that one. Yeah, it is a good trade here on Nvidia. We're going to wait to get some out here at 122.30. This is now 240 in the money and still going. We got the same sort of praise here from Big Patty Ice over there as well, looking at some names there as Mara moving around. We can always look at Coinbase. Come on, Nvidia. I'm at 122.30. Oh, geez, man. Now we only have 10% left. But guess what? We did it. That was the trade that we wanted. That break, that dip buy. Now we have a breaker 1.9 opportunity on our hands right now. There goes the break here. I didn't even have a chance to set it up. We did like 122.50 break. So there it goes, man. 122.50. I mean, what kind of a dream world are we even in right now? Take one trade, makes a lot of sense, goes right up. Dip buy opportunity right into our break opportunity right now. This could be an add here into the long, so I'm debating doing that. Why not take a little bit long right now? We'll buy some in the mid 60s there. See if we can get a 122.50 again. Pull back without trying to give much back here, right? If it goes, it goes. That's great. We'll add to it. We don't normally add to our winners like this, but this was a level that, again, we liked 122.50. We wrote it down for reasons. So let's see if we can get it going. There's the break higher on Nvidia. I mean, look where we have this name today, down here at 120. It's almost $3 in the money on that piece. Now you're going to see an averaged in price of 121.90. So that's where we're at right now. I feel like we'll give this a little bit of love back in, but if we get stopped out of this, we get stopped out of Nvidia. I mean, we're here to put damage on, right? And so far, so good on Nvidia. But maybe we just topped out at 122.50. We're going to have to find out if that is the case. But so far, so good here as we go.
Yeah, and I had to make a decision at that moment, Nvidia breakout or 275 double bounce on CrowdStrike. We went with CrowdStrike because that's the level we're at. We're able to get back in 275 half. It just tagged 279 in there, so resistance at 280 still. We're able to quickly grab the $3 and just get out of it. So ends up being the focus on CrowdStrike, but Nvidia over, it can still hold over 122.5, and if it does, I might go over to that name. If we get another higher low here on CrowdStrike over 275, we might take another shot at it. But that one definitely working out and worth being patient for it on Crowd. All right, we still have some work to do over here because AMD, alert, that is almost at Friday resistance, $158. So it is being dragged up by Nvidia, but this was a level I wanted short. If it gets another $1 or $2,
oh man,
don't want to throw good money at bad. But at the end of the day, this was a level that we liked for the short side of the trade. So we'll pivot from Crowd unless that gives us that higher low to work off of from VWAP and move on over to AMD.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
The ad even worked. Guys, let's just say you missed that first trade, right? That was a hard one. We don't normally, it is tough to buy those dip buys. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But then what else did we write down here? How about Nvidia 122.50 break? Well, that's giving you $1. Just that break alone has given you $1, let alone these dip buy opportunities that we had here. We talked about having a catalyst for us today on Nvidia, and there it is, man. And wow, and it's a good thing that we didn't go to the beach, of course, because there it is, more money to be made right here on the 122.50 break, and there it goes, screaming to the upside is Nvidia. So it's like, we talk about our sponsor, but this for me is the kind of trade that I'm going to be trying to do moving forward, trying to make bigger plays on individual names, get those catalysts going, hit those trades, and then at the end of the day, just, be lucky enough to have it go your way. And right there, it is doing that. So nice couple moves back up. We got them out of the 90s. We just got out some O's, and we just got out again upside right here at 10s or whatever, 15s, doesn't matter at this point. So it's a nice move up there for Nvidia. We're getting lighter and lighter on all these trades, right? So I mean, as it continues to go higher, we will start to get out of it. And even right now, I mean, we still got, this is, okay, you know what? Let's take a piece out here if it comes back up to 123. A little bit of a push down there. So what we have left is we have about half of our reload left. So that's why you see that price of 122.64. So I was going to hold this one back to like 122 if we, okay, well, if that comes, then that'll be fine. But we just took another piece out. No more outs now for Nvidia. Let's be right for a while here, not just for a minute. So we'll see if we can get this going. Nice trade here on Nvidia, 50 cents there, $3 on the initial spot. But the Qs are really like hot, man. I mean, they went down early, and that we were just like, okay. And now you're really starting to get some little bit of pay dirt here on the Qs. So far, so good here for NASDAQ names. Maybe we should look at Apple. I mean, Amazon's really come back as well. So AAPL, I was just looking at the corner of my eye on this name because it was dancing a little bit. And then, yeah, so, all right, not a whole heck of a lot. You were looking at maybe AMD.
AMD
is Intel.
AMD's cresting up at the highs, but yeah, good thing we got out of CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is right back to 270. This is ridiculous. It can't sustain a move. So it goes 75 to 79. It tried to bounce and get past that 80 level a couple of times here. Next stop, if it breaks 275, 270 was that overnight low on Friday, like really, the morning low on Friday when all that mess happened. So if it breaks 75, we just have to wait for that. We're able to get a couple of bounces, but if you get a couple of bounces and you're green on a downtrending stock, you should be happy and be able to back off it and wait for the next big level. All right, here comes AMD, still underneath 158. Big, strong move. It hasn't gone through, zoomed out too far. It hasn't gone through Friday's high. It was looking for a punch through to get up to Friday's high. Not there yet. I guess we got to be patient with this sucker. And Tesla was a fail for me at 250. It goes to 251 and wants to pull back. So now I have to wait for the next move. If it's going to bounce and I can get a lower high to short, I still like the fade up here at that 250, but I'm not chasing the $2 move. If it pulls up, puts in a lower high, and can show me some kind of a downward trend, then we work on over to Tesla. So still eyeballs on that CrowdStrike. For myself, I had to pick, like I said, I had to pick and choose between Nvidia and CrowdStrike at that bottom. I went with CrowdStrike instead of the break on Nvidia. I thought it was a bigger opportunity because Nvidia had already gone $3. Can it hold on to 122.50? Next stop would be VWAP maybe for a dip buy. Those are the only two levels I got for this. But I have to watch AMD. That's at my level.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one there. We, I mean, you're not going to believe what we did here on our chart. I mean, look what we wrote down for Intel. Dip buy area 3275 today. So there's Nvidia and Intel. And let's just have a quick look to see what Intel's dip buy area was. INTC right there today. What's up, Adara?
Part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade? Always playing catch up in the market? Missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial.
All right.
Thank you very much, Riddell. Always want to get that news in there. You've got to. Okay, AMD is right back up to 56. Watching two stocks at the same time here because 275 is gone on CrowdStrike. So you're going to have to wait that. I'm going to have to wait that up to 270. I'm sure anyone can do what they want. If you're short it, you're laughing. So Nvidia, 122.50. It's battling. It's either VWAP dip or hold here. And then at the same time, AMD pulled back, broke down the 156 level. So we're kind of working off this lower high. We'd probably give it two shots because 158 was the big resistance zone, but we're underneath the 156. So for now, we're short AMD. Still like the long idea on Nvidia. It's just a matter of whether I'm getting a chance at VWAP at this point. You're still $1 away from VWAP on NVDA. We'll see if we get that one back. And as I said, CrowdStrike, until we get some kind of another bottom in here, I don't want to take another half-hearted swing at it. Like 75 was the level, 80 was the level. We got both of those. We just have to wait for 70. I just have to wait for the 270 even or a regain of the 275, falling like a rock still, unfortunately, for Crowd.
So missed opportunity there. Yeah, I mean, I really like that CrowdStrike trade for sure. I mean, the only short that we had written down on here was Crowd, but it didn't get to 300, or I don't know. I didn't look at it. I don't think it got anywhere near there, did it? But Intel dip buy opportunity. We just showed you the chart there. We should have made that one. We did not. I still got to go get another coffee, so I'm going to go do that soon. Tesla, we missed that dip buy into 248. So that was a VWAP spot right there, 248 and change coming through for Tesla. So that was a spot that we should have been buying up, and we missed it. So again, good little dip buy. We want to try to dip buy some strong names. We talked about also, and a shout out to whoever that was in the chat there. I forget your name, and I apologize for it earlier, but we talked about Intel calls, and I said, what about SOX L calls? That's only up 9% right now, so that's going to be a good one. We made that call, of course, pre-market, so that was a nice little dip buy opportunity, but you got to get the options early, right? And there's the dip buy right into the 200 period moving average for SOX L, so gave everybody an opportunity to buy that one as well as that came back in. So, and then I just want to check out a day 2 or 3 play here on Netflix off of earnings up to 640, 641. Again, I could barely feel my hands here, so this is not going to go well. All right, nice little reboot here for Nvidia as it came in. Now, I'm bidding 121.75. It only got to 122.20. I was trying to play off this VWAP, so if it continues to go up, that'd be aight for us as well. But right now, Nvidia making that move. Thank you so much, Zion, for that. And yeah, it makes sense when you make these calls to actually put share size in, and that's why I'm only have this one trade right now. I'm trying to find great opportunities for everybody, again, for myself too, right, obviously. So if we can get something in on Tesla, we really like that strength there. We've already nailed this Intel bottom, but I didn't put a trade on because I was looking at Nvidia, right? And I don't know if I would have made more money in one area or the other. We had the same dip buy opportunity. And then 67 versus 34 here as far as crypto is concerned. So let's go have a quick look at Coinbase. Everybody loving Coinbase right now. Let's see what's going on with it. Nice downside move, though. There it is, man. We had Michael come on, talk about sort of the strength in this name, and there sure is. It does look like it's trying to break higher here, Coinbase, but for right now, rejecting this 265 area. So, yeah, again, like the stock, like crypto right now, really like the space, to be honest with you, but just not moving around too much right here. I'm going to go over and find out what this temperature thing is at because it's too cold.
It is, well, we usually have a refill on the coffee, but I'll take one if you do grab one. 122.5, I got to get two things at once. AMD broke out the top, so that goes right through the resistance spot. Take the hit there. I knew we'd have a decision to make, and we're right at the same price level at 122.5. Those are the two level twos I had up, with the exception of now TEL, which I'll get to in a second. 122.5 bouncing. I tried to grab some 23 outs, but you can see AMD pushing through the high of the day. So we had it short when it broke through 156, but it takes out that high. So you can't hold. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. So I like Nvidia. This was the level that we like for a breakout, but at the moment that CrowdStrike was giving us our trade, we had to stay there. I think it made sense. Like CrowdStrike's the one we were watching pretty closely at the open, so I didn't take this break. Now we're into it. Looking for the $0.50 on Nvidia. I don't think TEL is necessarily... All right, so I'm going to get this out of the way very quickly again. Tellurian's being bought for $1 in cash. If you see me pop into this trade, I'm just fading off the highs and fading off of $1 for like scalp trading. The low is like 93.5 cents. It's going to move in a very, very tight range today. I don't expect any crazy fireworks out of this stock. It's not like there's going to be a higher bid or anything along those lines. But you are going to see me in that one. Tesla, I'm still being pretty patient with it. I thought we'd get a retest of the high of the day. That hasn't happened, and now you're getting those lower highs. So I got it on the front end. I think that's obviously the wrong timing to get the 250 short. Now you're starting to step back into VWAP. If it pops in again, fails 251, that lower high is in play for me on TSLA. Just have to be able to move on. I don't want to chase Tellurian, but that's looking like a hell of a good short as well. So Tesla got the eyeballs. CrowdStrike, which has been the best one, it's now at 271. So, you know, ultimately, you probably make more money if you're just short the stock. If you just shorted it, but it's been pretty good off these obvious bounces. It took out 78 on the way back up, 280 to 282. On the bounce, 75 into 279. Now looking for a 270 bounce. Our charts aren't going to show overnight. Yeah, I stopped at like 6 a.m., but it did tag 270 on Friday, like early Friday morning. So that is the level. It's a round number as well. You're down 11%, but this is short sell restricted from Friday. It went down over 10%, double digits, as much as 20% overnight. So the bounce right now is 271. I'm looking for that test under 270, bounce off under 271, bounce off 270, and I'd look to go long with a 270 stop. So we're just in that bounce play in Nvidia after joining it a bit late, and then eyeballs here on CrowdStrike. I mean, it's such a big mover. You've done 10 million shares worth of volume. At some point, I'm figuring it's going to make a bounce into VWAP, and you get more than just a scalp trade, $5, $6, something along those lines. So here's 271 breaking on Crowd, trying to go. And I am short TLRY at 95 cents, but that one's not showing up on the board. So here comes 270 on CrowdStrike. Looks like it's going to make that play any second now. Just want to be ready for it. If it bounces clean and I see the buyers step up, then I'm going to jump into this one long with a 70 stop. Let's go to Adara. Apparently we've got 10 o'clock. My goodness. Happening now.
Nvidia and the S&P 500 both up on the day so far, though they've sold off a little bit, coming off of their worst week since mid-April. So let's see if we can continue those movements to the upside for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Of course, over the weekend, we had a catalyst that could impact the market and DJT with President Joe Biden announcing he will not be running for re-election. So DJT and these Trump-related plays certainly on watch today. We also have chips on watch, lots of strength in the SMH right now, and that tech sector in general. A couple of specific names here to keep an eye on include TSLA. This went up almost 5% right now. We have Elon Musk announcing that the company could be working on its Optimus production for internal use as of late 2024, early 2025. So good look here for those robots for TSLA. We also have CrowdStrike, of course, now down more than 11% here, getting some downgrades from Guggenheim and BTIG, along with some price target decreases from other analysts after that system outage on Friday. Last but not least here, Cassava Science is holding up pretty well here, up about 27%, announcing that their phase 3 trial for their Alzheimer's treatment should conclude by December 2024. They do have a short float of about 27%, so lots of different names to keep an eye on today to get into what could be a pretty eventful week for the markets, guys.
All right. Market pulling back a little bit right now. I wanted to look quickly as we've got finally reloaded here on our coffees. I'm going to take... So it didn't quite get into where we wanted it on NVIDIA. I mean, we're getting close right now to taking a little bit more shares here as we just took some in the 90s right there. But that's not it. Like, we're waiting for 75s. Maybe we can get that. Maybe we can't. But we just did a little reload there, giving us an average price now of 29s. So, you know, we don't have big shares. I was waiting for VWAP fail. If we fail back under here at 50s, I'm going to get out. I'm not even going to play with 120, 150. If it breaks it, we're out. There's been too many times here where you've seen, you know, pullbacks happen in stocks that keep on going. I mean, the market rate just touched 20,000, then it fade off. So if you're going to talk about key levels in the NASDAQ, I mean, that's a pretty good one right there, right? 120. So, 20,000. There goes NVIDIA, by the way. Oh, yeah. Nice little 40-cent reload right there. I mean, the money just keeps coming in on NVDA right here. But there's the NASDAQ. I mean, still, man, like, I would much rather be going longs down here because we know that there's some support. I feel like you're caught in the middle now and bouncing off 20,000. There's 20,000 right here on the 17th. Nice move up 150 points and then the fail again. So, yeah, to sit here and sort of go back and forth with some of these bigger names at this level, I'm going to pass for now on trading the TQs or anything like that. But we just do take advantage of that last little buy spot there. 39 cents. So we bought 94s, out 29s there, 39 cents, whatever that math is. That's what we just got on that last little reload. That's nothing though. I'm not even, whatever, 40 cents is still nice, but we're waiting for more shares. And then if it drops out, and we'll give back probably maybe 35% or so of what we're making because we're trying to make something happen here. So let's see if we do defend VWAP, but we are very, very aware of what this market is indeed doing, which brings me over to, I mean, we could look at weaker names. Again,
there's none weaker than CrowdStrike.
Right, exactly.
So just very quickly, it just lost the 70 level. You'll see I was in it. It got back up to, you got 271, and then there was a bounce just about to like 270.50. It's hard to see because this has now moved like so many dollars, like $22. but we did get a bounce off 70. We were able to scalp some out. I reloaded it off 70 and then just took the hit on the 70 level. So it looks like it's not bouncing at all. The last 270 was no good. 75 gave a $4 bounce. This gave like a 70-cent bounce off that level. If you got anything out, congratulations to you, but certainly still to the downside. At this point, every $5 is in play for me, but 270 now gone over there on Crowd. There's a big wall here on, it's not showing up. There's a big wall here at 95 on Tel. I am in it at 94.8, but I'm going to make sure we can get that one seen. Again, just a dollar level. But CrowdStrike, to me, I'm just going to keep on this well. Like at some point, I'm not chasing this to the short side. Every $5 is worth it. The fact that it was able to hold pretty decently in here and try to bounce, it means to me there's going to be that opportunity. We just have to be able to find it. Certainly. This is looking nasty to the downside for Crowd.
Oh, man. I guess it's all about karma at some point, right? I mean, look at NVIDIA here. Look at this thing go, 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 go. We just talked about where we're buying, right? We're buying right here. We bought the dip, and there it goes again. Wow, we almost doubled our net right here. Let's see if we can get going now as we take some more out on NVIDIA, man. We're just going to hit that one trade today. Back and forth again on NVDA, man. Buy the dips, and boom goes the dynamite. But we have to watch out because the market is still well below. So I am getting more and more out of this. We're still going to watch out for a 50 break because here it comes right back down. We're out of half now already of this reload. It's 10:05. We already had the huge monster move today on NVIDIA, and we had the whole thing. And now we're just adding and sort of just cherry on top, cherry on top, cherry on top, you know, right there. So it's a huge move back up there for NVDA. And again, just on one symbol today, we'll be where we need to be. So I want to thank you. We got a super chat for both of us here. So there it is right there. Thank you for NVIDIA. Hey, man, you are welcome on that one and your AMD short. So this trader held it and is profitable on that trade. And I know Neil was in and out of that one. But again, the great idea, and that's what it's all about, right? Is like, we'll give you some of the ideas, and whether or not we're able to hold on to them as long as you guys are, is a completely different story. Sometimes we'll hold longer and sometimes we'll hold shorter. So yeah, just play the momentum, especially if it's your time of day, right? I mean, you can get bigger moves early and you may want to try to think about scalping out as the day goes on a little bit here. But with this NVIDIA trade, and again, thank you so much. Again, bang on that one. I already hit the like for you there on the super chat, so thank you for that. We've got a whole bunch of good ones today so far. Okay, here it comes. We take another piece out in the 90s on NVIDIA. I have another piece out of just above 122. It doesn't look like it wants to go right now, so what we're doing is we've already gotten it out. We've talked about that, but at the same time, you never like to take hits. I mean, you're going to not always have, you know, banger days and banger ideas. So when they stop working, and I can see here NVIDIA did have some problems at 122. So, I mean, look at all of these outs that we had here. We had so many shares there. We got out of so many early because it popped up. As soon as we got filled, almost like we were the indicator there, it got filled and then just ripped up. There we go. So now we're out. So we will hit a last... We'll flush them down the toilet because that's where they're going right now. NVIDIA shares breaking through 121.50. Now, whether or not that was the bottom, I don't know. But for me, we're out of it. And, you know, we talk about being honest, have some integrity on the show and whatnot. I gave back less than 10% of my day on NVIDIA right there. So that, I mean, if I can't, now that's up, obviously, boo on that. But I can't do that any better. Take a shot on and basically a reload of almost the same shares as we had down there, and then to be able to only be down once it breaks. So that's pretty good, but looks like we might have just got broke down right there because that bounced specifically off the 50 period. I just had too many shares. I wanted to get out, but good little trade there for anybody on NVIDIA. Now let's on to the next.
Yeah, on to the next is, oh my goodness, it's nasty. Over there. Sorry, my chart just crashed. I have to set it up again. Just give me a quick little second here. I was trying to fix a wick on the chart, and I'm just going to have to deal with this silly wick on TLRY, and it's going to be really hard to see this. But brick wall 95, I'm short 95, but CrowdStrike is still falling, and everyone wants to look at other places, but CrowdStrike just hit 265.
What?
And yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness, like we're not even making this up. Like on Thursday, I was actually saying to Sean I was considering buying the stock the day before the outage.
Yeah. Oh no,
I'm
I
not.
remember
I'm
that.
not.
We both
I'm
talked
not
about
making
it.
it up. We actually talked about it.
I'm gonna buy it right now.
I was pretty close to doing it. I was about to say I'm probably going to do it in the middle of the day, like midday or something like that. I just feel like down another 12%. It's getting back into like this January level. Like in January, the bottom was $240. I just feel like that's a spot. But 265s we're at right now. It's trying to bounce off that 265 level. 38s is the local low. If it can hold here, just show me some kind of strength off 265, and then I can get engaged. And shout out to anybody that, if you held on to that AMD, great look. It ran that top, and I couldn't find my way back in. But we want to find our way back into CrowdStrike. This 265 looking very juicy. Another 13% is completely insane as far as I'm concerned. So it's getting pretty nasty here in CrowdStrike. If you got the short, I don't think you've had many reasons to get out of it. And if you're looking for bounces, you basically had to scalp your bounce plays. Because if you weren't doing that, you've been getting absolutely rinsed. Oh, and by the way, Tesla in that 250, tried jumping back into it. Is my chart going to load? There it is. So there's the wick above. So this is the setup I was looking for. There's the run at the double top for the lower high, and then right back in through 250. That's the setup that we're looking for. Just a little bit too slow to it, but it does set up potentially like a VWAP retracement. That's 248. The channel that we're in for Tesla, okay, 65 is about to run. The channel that we're in for Tesla is still holding this 48 250 zone, which is what we wanted. So we can still look for that short, just don't want to be chasing too far on TSLA.
All right, we have a new trade idea right here. I agree with that. I mean, I think we want to buy some CrowdStrike down here for sure if we get an opportunity to do that. But right now, and I say for sure, but again, those of you that are potentially in the business, there, as I know your wife is as well, looking at security is, you're right, see, so you got to be careful with that because the thing is, this wasn't even a breach or anything, right? So, I mean, it's like, it just shows you, what if that was a hack? I mean, how bad would have it been? This is just a software rollout that did not go right. But we have a new trade alert here. It's going to be Broadcom again. I want to try to stay in the same place as, wait a minute, what's NVIDIA doing now? Yeah, so NVIDIA did break lower. Okay, so remember, we got out of that at 50s. We were feeling not that great when it bounced back to 90s right there. But I'm going to give Broadcom one more chance. Maybe the chips are not where it needs to be right now. We're long right here right now at 160.16. So nothing to worry about. But at the same time, we do want to make sure that we are able to get something out, especially if it goes back into the 70s. And I haven't traded this name pre-split yet. So post-split or pre-split. So this is going to be a new one for me. So we're going to have to wait to see what happens here with Broadcom. And again, it's going to look silly on our daily chart because we do not represent the splits properly. But there it goes. Since we've split over in the last couple of days, zoom back again on that. Sorry about that, guys. But let's just have a quick little look at what we're doing. We are still long. That name 159.50 is where we're going to get out. Yeah, so bad movements here from the split, but we've also seen Nvidia hit to the downside. We've seen AMD hit the skids as well on that bad TSM report from last week. So I'm going to see if it can hold out the 50-period moving average. That is honestly all that we're doing right now, is just trying to see if it can hold this out. Now, we don't have too much data because of the split, but this should still be accurate. We have more than 50 candles here on a 20-minute chart. So I'm looking to see if this holds 159.50 out. That was that dip right there. We'll see if it holds it. If it does not, we are out of Broadcom. So, that's 159. I don't want to hold it all the way to the end of the day, or sorry, to where we were at the open. So I'm going to probably just get out if we're wrong. And we could definitely afford that kind of a hit right here today for us. Yeah, so that's a new trade alert. So there is Broadcom. What else did we have on here? Obviously, Neil's just talked about CrowdStrike. We went over that. We had an ARM. Oh, in this little dip buy opportunity, are we getting one to buy ARM right now? So yes, we did. But we went to Broadcom, so I'm pretty happy with that. At the same time, these aren't the levels for me yet on ARM. So even looking at a 20-minute chart, we're still not there for me yet. I would like to get into 162. So that would mean that this Broadcom trade probably falls on its face. Intel, we already looked at that. We missed that buy opportunity, but we did talk about that at 32.75. And again, just for charting purposes here, this is what I looked at, and I was just, get out of here, Forex ad. Right there, oopsies, and there's another ad. Hey, what's up, ad? Right there, just past support, right? So past support becomes resistance. So there's support right there, and it's still holding, right? That's 33.35. So I was thinking a breakthrough there, we could get something, but it was more the dip buy area of 32.75 there, holding out for us on Intel. And we drew this, of course, pre-market. So that looks like it's been holding. And then look where we stopped at. 33.70, 33.35, which was that top end of the range. So Intel like a glove right here, just representing this Friday sort of area, top to bottom one more time. So yeah, in these chip names, that's what's good. Yeah, just to go over to some banks. I mean, we did talk about some Wells Fargo earlier today, and I was like, before we threw over to Michael Noss, I said weakness in the banks. I would take on this name, and I mean, look what this has done today. And this is not cherry picking. I was just calling up Wells Fargo because I thought we needed a change of pace from chip names, but there it is, downside move. So we kind of like this. I was talking about shorting it if you got the opportunity, and watch out for 56, 57. But here we go again. We're going to go 2 for 2 if we get out now. That's Broadcom starting to go back up to the upside right here. And another play that, again, we talked our way through this. We worked our way into this trade. And my gosh, there it is. It's a 30-cent winner now for Broadcom as we wait to get more out. Upside, 166. Do we get them both out right there? 160.64 just missed us. So it crossed, but we did not get the fill. Did we get it that time? Yes. Yes, we did. Bang, 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 bang. Man, what a day today, man. We're going to go 2 for 2. And we talked about what we're looking for. And we hit it now twice. So, hey, you're welcome, Rivian Millionaire, everybody there. Willis Addison, welcome, all that, man. Let's just see what happens with Broadcom. We're out of a third of it already there as we sort of got our target, man. We got VWAP, so a nice little take there, 160 up to 160.50, 160.60 was our out.
Yeah, great look there. And we're right back to the well as Crowd just made probably the most convincing candle, and I know because I was in it, that 265 didn't hold, but it's not huge volume. It's not the biggest volume of the day, but it is a big rejection underneath that 65, and then again 66. So we're now long off to 66. Got to remember that 270 big resistance, 273 as well. VWAP is sitting at 275. So I think we're all out of this if we get into the low to mid 70s on CrowdStrike. Again, this stock has been absolutely bleeding, but it has provided some good opportunities for bounce plays. I don't have the low here because it rinsed the 65 and then had to get in at the 66 level because that was the next available opportunity. I do see this, and we said this last week. It wasn't on my list this morning because there was no catalyst for Nike. But $74 on Nike, just very quickly, here is your 15-minute. Nike has finally made some kind of a bottom. It has yet to break this 74 barrier the last couple of weeks. So once, twice, like 3 or 4 times, maybe even 5 times, Nike has rejected the 74 level. I like 74.25 specifically for a level to work off of. If we catch that, I think it's a breakout for Nike. But we're right back at CrowdStrike on the next play, and that's 266. I have 266.25. If we can hold this higher low, I'm looking all the way into VWAP, and that includes some dip buying on Crowd. Tesla, we still want to look for the fade here. It just now, 2 seconds ago, got back to the 250. I look up, wait for it to retest 250, kind of misses on the way down. If it gives us the same look, we're going to look to jump right back into that 250 short on TS to the LA.
TS to the LA, TS to the LL. Is
Nike was probably a buy last week, but
yes,
that's what it is.
Yes.
I wanted the break. I like the breakout to get into it, so I was kind of like, I'll buy it higher if it's strong instead of off support. Today? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just want to know. 73. Okay. So, yeah, we did buy. So last week we were lucky enough to buy. I mean, I told you right on the show, we bought it at lunchtime. I think both of these names were like Wednesday, Thursday. But whatever it was the same day. So I don't think we're necessarily in the money too much here on Nike. But we did buy some last week. We talked about it. That was 72 and change. Nice little rebound for NKE. Again, just adding it. These are for the long term. These are not swing trades. I'm trying to hold these. And we've been in and out of Starbucks a bunch in our life, but I didn't have any shares. And we had recently, I don't like the fact that we're down 4% today. We know this stock is not great. We're waiting for that next release to come through to see where Starbucks winds up falling out. But we bought some of this again last week, same kind of levels, but this was at 74. So we got some long 74.50s or so. Nice move up there on Activist. But again, it's for the longer term. And we had mentioned this right live on the show that if you were trying to get in and out of this name and you bought that for a swing trade, you can't expect 10% there in one day. So I feel like that would have been a great spot. Yeah, hopefully. That might have been a good spot to get out.
I said that jokingly.
Yeah. If you were trying to look for more Starbucks, I think you can dip by some of these opportunities. All right, Broadcom, we are now out of more than half. It just came back up into VWAP again. So we did have a little bit of a dip down. We did get it again into 50. So we got 2 orders at 50 out, 1 order at 65 there. And so we're going to wait. This still could turn out to be a relatively flat, if not red trade, because if we break back down below 159.50, that would signify about a 50-cent loss, give slippage. Again, I don't know what the slippage is going to be, 60 cents on half when the most we got was 60 cents. So we'll see if this one can remain a positive trade for us. My next offer is at 161.50. So let's just see if the market wants to hold. I keep on looking back at Nvidia because it's kind of bouncing off levels that I've liked. I mean, we've talked about this. Like, look at that move right back to 122.50 right there. Oh, by the way, Nike's still going. That's probably
did it break the quarter yet?
A great trade on that one. So Nvidia still trying to hold out. But again, I think we have to get this 121 if we're going to do anything. I just don't trust it because, like, you never put on enough shares. Like, even, like, no matter what you put on here, how much am I going to put here? Because unless I put on half of that trade, my stop is still going to be here at 121. So I'd rather not like lose everything by trying something right here. I really like that dip opportunity. Maybe we should have given that up. Maybe we should not have given that trade up right there.
All right, here's
Amazon coming back in. Yeah, what?
It's put up or shut up time for CrowdStrike if it can get through 270. Because if we're going to get to, if you go 65, 70, if it holds 75, I think we get. Sorry, if it holds 70, I think we get a chance at 75. But this would be that spot. The problem with 270s, remember, this was the overnight Friday low. So my theory of trading, generally speaking, is on big stocks and big gaps, support turns into resistance. So a fail here by my rule, it's a bounce off 65. If it fails 70, I get out on the way back through. So it is running into a brick wall at $270. Here. There was a refresher up in the 90s. I still see them. If it breaks 70 and fails the break, I'll probably get out on the back end here through like 69.5. It needs to hold a higher low. It just had the bid for about like 2 seconds and then slammed right back down. So I think this is definitely the battle spot for CrowdStrike. TEL just started working, sliding into the downside. I got a tag at 94. I'm on the bid 93.5. I'm on the bid at 93 on that name. But CrowdStrike right here, this 269.5 is probably going to trail me out. Yep, there it is. So we just trailed out 269.5. We're going to ring the register on it. Definitely sellers at that big 270. We liked it for a long at that price. We're going to jump out of it and maybe look for the next available trade on Crowd. As we go to the small cap recap, and let's talk some Mira apparently because that stock's going with Adara.
Bit of a change in pace here for the IWM, actually down on the day. We're down here about 0.25%. Once we broke below that support area earlier today, around 217.50, 217.60, fell pretty steadily, trying to climb back up here for the Russell 2000. Starting off here with the day 2 play, it's going to be SERV, Serve Robotics. This one up about 80%. Nvidia did disclose a stake in the company last week. They have roughly 10% of the company shares here for SERV. Next up, we have CareMax, CMAX. Not seeing any news on this one, up over 100%. We do have a short float of around 7.6%. Total float of under 3 million shares. Last but not least, we have to talk about Mira Pharmaceuticals, MIRA. This one also up more than 100%, announcing some new preclinical study results for its oral ketamine treatment here. So MIRA, this one also has run in the past, guys.
Ketamine, huh?
Tesla, yeah, you gotta give that to your, was it horses?
Isn't that?
All right.
That's what.
I don't know. I have to ask Aaron Rodgers. All right, so here we go. A nice little. Oh, it is horses. Okay, yeah. Or I think it fights COVID as well, apparently. Okay, 183 possibly for a downside move here for Amazon. So it is going to be a new position. So we've got
another one.
We're only going to have 3 today.
Another one.
And
another one.
So far today, man, we have Broadcom. Not doing too much. We have Amazon right now. It's a starter position. Let's see what happens right now. So let's talk about this real quick. I'm out of this if we break this. We wrote down here on our sticky note, and again, we're not going to be able to nail every single level. We wrote down 182 long for a dip buy for Amazon. So that really came through early, but it stopped at 182.75. So in this sort of disaster open, maybe for the NASDAQ, which was right there, we got it all back. But now you're coming back into these levels again. So I'd like to see if we do hold that bottom, because once we did, we ripped up about $2, or I guess a flat dollar. I guess we didn't break through 185. That's 182.80. Yeah, so we did get to 184.80. So yeah, so we did get $2 back to the upside. So let's just sit here and test it. My next reload's at 183 flat. Then I'm going to reload that bottom. and give it like 10 cents. Like, no, I'm not, like I said, not throwing the money that we've made onto ideas here when the market's doing this. I would much rather see either a test down here, which is what we're going to wait for Amazon to get that long, or either a break and then we completely flip up our sort of thought here on everything. So here comes Broadcom. That just really came in. Where was my stop, man? I thought I was going to get stopped down here. Yeah, breakthrough 50 and we're stopped. So I don't know even what was that fill? What was up with that fill? 70s. Okay, so it just came in. So again, with the spread, yeah, like that just came in real quick. Looks like we probably will get stopped out here. I mean, again, I don't know. We'll see. We are long right here at 88s. If we're able to get something out in the 80s, let's take advantage of that. So here comes 79s again. Little back end trade here. If we can get back going, that'd be nice. But you can see here, seems to be getting hit in the chip space. Nothing happening with Nvidia, but it does look like it's going to be Broadcom coming back in there. And we already got thanked for that trade. But again, got to take it out where you guys see fit. We already took out half and we just reloaded it. So that could be a red trade, as we've discussed before. Looks like AMD's trying to hold out. They just had a dump as well. So if you like AMD a little bit better with the volume and the spread.
NVIDIA is the strongest one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we nailed NVIDIA being the strongest one today. It was the only one that we were going to look at. But Broadcom comes back. There you go. We get an 88 fill on that name. So put a little bit more money in our pocket. Now let's just protect this last long that we had. So we just got dipped in there. We took some out there at 88. We got a 60. What did I say the fill was? 68 or 69? Yes. And then we got out at 86. So not bad, or 88, sorry. Not a bad little take there, as now we're starting to get back up to the upside. How many shares do we have? Okay, we have enough. Let me see if we could take something out and cross in here and get another piece out in the mid 90s. And then we'll see where we go. So far, so good here on the Broadcom reload. We got a good trade here on the Amazon position as well. As there goes Amazon right now, hit the sirens up. Where are we waiting for this one? We're waiting at 67. We just stopped at 50. So we'll take that out here if we can on Amazon and see if we can make it a 3-for-3 day here at Trader TV. It's 10:25. The fun has just started. It's a gap and go kind of day on the midday. So we're going to find out about gap fills right there. But the only gap we're trying to fill. Yeah, we're trying to fill that gap in our credit card statement right now. I'm paying some of these bills. So let's get going now, back up to the upside, and let's hope that we can get a move here on Amazon. So we just missed that fill. I'm now at 50s. That's my bad. We should have been at 50s in the first place. So now we're there.
Yeah, it looks like we might have, the bid just came in again on Crowd. It wasn't exactly where I was kind of anticipating. I thought we'd get another run at 266 down here where we got the last long. It just held 267. So the stair step is going on. You're not a VWAP yet, so I still think it's in play. Just have to find another entry, maybe a double bottom. I just want to see it make a double bottom or give me the same level we had before, which was rinsing in here and give us, yeah, it looks like 267 is going to be it. So I got to be patient with it. Oh, I'll just give you a quick little update on what we are in. That wick is still there, so let me zoom way in. Not a complicated idea. I don't expect fireworks out of TEL. It showed resistance at 95.5, so I shorted 95. It just hit 94. Bids down into the current low of the day, which is 93.4 on TLRY. Sorry, I couldn't hold that one. Just a little sneeze there, actually, for you. I couldn't hold it. Nvidia is still looking strong. Tesla, I did try to get back in. We showed you guys that 250 swing and miss, old man hands. Did not get this 250, but you are holding underneath VWAP now. I'm not looking flat bottom break, but another lower high, similar to what we saw here. Lower high, fail break, and then 50 becomes a level. Lower high, fail break, 248 becomes a level on Tesla. So it's still CrowdStrike looking for that lower high bid off maybe 67s to play into VWAP, or see if we can't work into another short here on TSLA. 3% up, but suddenly looking a little bit weak, as the market is certainly giving some back. It's that failure of 20,000 that happened on the NASDAQ that turned things here. Like everything was looking pretty strong, and now you've got this stair step to the downside that we are looking to join. Crowd now back through 270, but there's still that same seller at that spot. So we've got to be patient waiting for this VWAP test. It hasn't really held under VWAP until just now on Tesla. Yeah, this is starting to give it up pretty good. I'm just going to pivot to Rivian and see if I see a trade there. Have to be patient with Tesla. What do we see with Rivian? I generally like this one as well if it's going to hold underneath VWAP. So it's rejecting a top break, 1730, and holding under VWAP. Yeah, I can go for either one of these. Right now, I'm not getting the fill I want on Tesla, and I'm not going to chase it. So I might have the chance to consolidate under VWAP with Rivian, which is adjacent to it.
I like all of those trades. We also like,
What'd I get?
Rivian, we should be looking at Rivian too. Tesla.
It's up too.
Yeah, I know. Nvidia really starting to go, man. I mean, wow. Okay, wow. Could have got back into this one, and we, should have done that for sure. We really like Nvidia. It's going to be what's paying the bills here today. And, we should have been back in, and we dropped out of it $1 ago. So on that one. But like I said, we only gave back 10% of what we made on this whole move up. So pretty happy, needless to say, with the performance today. And I mean, look what's happening to Broadcom right now. This is another 40-cent winner. So again, on a name that we don't normally trade, I'm pretty happy with what we've been able to do for this name. And that is, of course, Broadcom. So we'll look to see if we can get something else going there with that. Amazon, okay, there's the fill that we waited for. We actually had 2 orders there and didn't realize it. So we take doubles out right there into the 70s. So yeah, man, we just talked about it right there. It's another 3 for 3 day, right? We were 7-1 or whatever on Thursday, something similar on Friday. And then there it is right now for Amazon coming back in. So the trades that we've had today so far, 120 long right there on Nvidia. Then again there, big trades. We had Broadcom long. I mean, that's a winner. We can't lose now because we re-added to it and then got out. And then Amazon right now is 50 cents in the money. Take it if you like it. We've already got out of half. We'll wait to see if Amazon can get going up to 184.50. So yeah, right now, that is sort of what it is right now as we just continue to be trading off of our sticky note today, although we did add Broadcom, but missed out on holding out on Amazon, Nvidia. But you know what, Neil? There goes Amazon. Nice move to the upside here. Are we going to get, and we got to go to Adara, I realize that. Are we going to get VWAP? Probably. 183.80, 184, 184.20 upside for AMZN. Let's do that, man. Let's shoot the moon here and see if we can get it on Amazon. We're holding 2 40-cent winners as we go over to Adara for crypto updates.
An exciting story here that's been a long time coming. On Friday, we did have the CBOE, Chicago Board Options Exchange, confirming that the official launch date for these Ethereum ETFs, spot Ethereum ETFs, is going to be tomorrow, July 23rd. So the ETFs we have are starting, they're going to be the 21 shares, Core, Fidelity, Invesco, Galaxy, Van Eck, and Franklin. So keep an eye on those spot Ethereum ETFs as of July 23rd, to be tomorrow, Tuesday. In terms of Bitcoin here, this one definitely running into some resistance around that 68,000 area, now actually below 67,000, just barely, after 3 straight days of upside. So Bitcoin continuing to try to grind higher here after hitting those 54,000 lows, running into that area of support for a little bit here. So not too much to report, just testing a little bit below these lows after that 68,000 area. We have Ethereum here down a little bit right now on the day, at around that 3,400 level. A little bit of weakness as well in BNB, but a lot of strength in Solana, up 3%. Ripple up about 4.23%. Dogecoin up about 3%. Avalanche up about 5%. So then we do have some weak or flat names, quite a few names trading significantly to the upside to kick off the week, guys.
So I guess they want to sell the news on this because, I mean, you're seeing a failure of 35,000 pretty cleanly here. Stair step to the downside. I'm talking, this is ETH. This is actually the spot quote for ETH here at Real Trading. We got the real. You can look at the ETFs when they come, obviously, or you can just go right to this name. Not going to be catching any falling knives. We've seen this story before where you are selling the news. In fact, just very quickly, Rivian made this failure up at Thursday's high, not Friday's. You know, if we weren't looking at CrowdStrike, probably might have had a shot at that. But yeah, back underneath the breakout 1710 level, and we're short here just in front of 17. So if it breaks VWAP, we want to be able to get out, and we're going to play this down into the close was 1675, so that makes a nice, reasonable target for us. Tesla, we pivoted there because Tesla is not really giving any opportunity off of VWAP. So Tesla, stair step down off that 250. We want to try to short the pop. If it bounces, I'd look for a fail of 248 and try to short it on the way back in. So we're just still in that TLRY short, and now just adding Rivian to the list in lieu of Tesla temporarily. CrowdStrike, yeah, there hasn't been another dip to be able to grab. You had to take that at 67. I didn't really have a reason to get in at 67 outside of this is what it showed you. And now that we're close to VWAP, might not get another crack at this. So the frustrating thing for me is I did not get 2 cracks at 65. I ended up with a 66 long instead of a 65 long. The first 65 long, there's a stop out, and we didn't get back in till it had already gone $1. And we did double up in there, but it's frustrating because 65 is that every $5 play, and it is going to give VWAP, but all you can do is move on to the next opportunity. I'm happy with Crowd. I just think we could have been a little bit faster on the keys. I always had a level 2 dedicated to it, but you're looking in the wrong spot for a quick little second, or you look down, maybe confirm your keys. That's all it takes. It just takes one little moment. All right, here comes Rivian to the downside. Don't know if we're going to get that shot at Tesla again, but Rivian doesn't even have a green candle. Okay, it's got this little tiny green candle in here since rejecting the high break. So I've played back into pre-market lows. I think makes a little bit of sense.
So just a quick little look here, and I'll get to your question, Nimin, in a second, but I took another piece out at 60s here on Broadcom. Just wasn't breaking. We already bought that dip opportunity. We already missed the Nvidia reload long. Doesn't look like Broadcom wants to have that same action off of that level. So we puff, and pass on that. And well, we didn't. We just have a very small piece left. We have 10% left of that one. Let's go for another chicken dinner winner, man. We're going to go 3 for 3 and be real happy about it today because, again, we're coming back refreshed off the weekend, big weekend, lots of fun stuff, good news stories in the market today, and really just hit what we wanted to hit. And that's to me is what trading's about, hitting stocks that you want to hit. Like, that's it. Like, it's make the trades, because all of us, as I look at this chat, right, there's some of you SMCI, some of you trading whatever serve is, all of these different things, man. Even some of you are like, yo, what's up with Palantir?
SMCI.
And I left that hat on my rack to bring in today, and I forgot it right there because we keep on, should be here, I should be putting it on. And Palantir is another stock that I always trade, always, and we always look for this dip buy. And geez, man, oh no. And you guys want to talk about something here.
Oh no.
Here's sticky notes from last week. Palantir dip by 27.75 all over the place on those dip buys from last week. And why would we say 27.75? Well, looky. It dropped in again today. So there is another missed opportunity for your boy. But you know what? Spill milk, baby. 70 cents on Amazon right now. The day's high, by far, #1 stock is Nvidia here. So we're really happy with that. And missed opportunity on Palantir. So those of you asking, where's the dip buy? Check sticky notes from the last week when we had 27.75 written on it every single day. And we also had this trade. My bad. Lazy hands maybe. But again, with Palantir up here today, it was at $29. Like, the market was up 1%. Did not expect a move back down 1.5% in our face with Palantir. So that's a trade that definitely threw me off, but there's the level again. All right, Nimit, you asked, man, and Perplexity answered. I'm not trying to show you guys like anything other than what you don't already know. I just asked Perplexity for some of the major Bitcoin ETFs. That's right. So you asked Nimit, what are some possibilities for names? I have no idea what these names are going to be. You know that ETHE will stay because Grayscale kept this one. And then look, when I'm looking at this, man, like, these are all the main ones. So I would say you'd get ARC-E probably would be one name for sure, because this is the Bitcoin ETF ARC-B. So I would think ARC-ET or ETH, or I don't know, something like that. But like, how to know IBIT and all these things, I have no idea. So I was just going to say to you, thanks for the question.
You can put a poll up and then we can submit and just ask what the ETFs.
Yeah, like what would be cool ETF?
Yeah, what would be a cool name?
Yeah, that could be something. But I actually wonder too, Nimit, like, put in the chat there. And I only called this up because for content reasons, we don't want to talk about it.
IBIT's easy.
No,
like,
but why? But
I don't know
why
what
ask
you call
the question
this.
is what I was wondering.
I don't know what else you'd call it.
It's just. Oh no, but I'm just asking, like, why for Nimit? Like, he's like, please, if there's any insight into this. I just wonder why. Sometimes we bark up different trees that we don't need to be. So I just want to know what the interest is there, Nimit, and what you're possibly thinking, because it's not like you can buy options on these things if they don't exist yet. So
I was never a tree.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, there's I don't even remember what it's called, but there's ETH something, the Canadian one, the Grayscale, whatever the Grayscale one is in Canada.
It's
like
ETHC.
I know it's BTCC.B. So
no, it's ETHC.
ETHC. Okay, so same. So that could be something. So this is the Canadian one. We were one of the first, nations, to solidify Bitcoin sort of an ETF like this. So that's right. And so that was a good thing. I thought that maybe that was a nail in the coffin when that happened, because of course when marijuana was first initiated around here, stocks went to the other side. All right, 122.60 right now. But anyways, BTCC has been a good one as that gets back up to highs, but I think a pretty expensive management fee. So watch out for that. WFC still going lower as well. We've already cleaned out a lot of our trades now. It's 1040 damage. I mean, no damage done whatsoever, but damage for the positive side indicated there. It's funny that we talked about WFC randomly, and I was like, yeah, WFC's down. That's right. Right now, this is one that we were talking about. And then it was just like, oh yeah, Sean, that's a nice story. And since then, it's been up about 80 cents straight up to the upside. We stayed clean away from it. Oh my, our net rate now is starting to get cooked up here a little bit because Amazon now 60 cents in the money and trying to break higher right there. Look, we got nervous about this, man. You know, no lies about that. We kept on resisting this 50 break, but now we're trying to get higher. Oh, wow, there it is, 70 cents now on that one as we hold out for Broadcom. So it's a one banger, it's a two banger, and it's three today. 3 trades, 3 for 3. You know, if it was, if you're looking for a couple quick trades, I think these are them. I mean, we've already hit our deal. We've already passed our daily goal easily. It's 10:40, an hour into the day. So this is part of, I mean, Brendan and I, we all talk about this, that sort of that Freedom and Wealth podcast that we talk about. There goes Amazon, by the way. We are now out of that trade as it cleans up. That's almost $1 right there. We got out ahead of the 50-period moving average, or sorry, the 200 period. That's a trade for me. 10 times out of 10, we're now out of Amazon. But this is that sort of that advantage that day trading gives you, being able to get in and out, make that money, and now go do a job that pays you everything, where you don't need to gamble every single day. But that's day trading. You know, it's for the spoils comes the riches, or whatever it is. Lots of different opportunities every single day. And I hope that you are watching and, you know, can understand that we're here to take advantage of some of those for you every single day. That's a lot of talking, and I promise I'll give it back to Neil when we get back from Adara at the big screen.
Go Nike.
NASDAQ here up more than 1% of the day. It's really reflected in the tech side of things on this board. We have pretty much all these electronic technology names strongly to the upside, most notably chips. Then on the technology services side, we've got Meta, Microsoft, Google, all strongly to the upside. CRM and Netflix as well. Netflix coming off day 2 of earnings after selling off on day 1. But it is worth noting the one red name in this group, CRWD, continuing to sell off after that system outage we had on Friday, and then getting some price target decreases and downgrades from analysts. Good look for a lot of these tech names. Finance pretty strong here across the board. Lots of strength as well in producer manufacturing, health, consumer durables, a little bit of upside as well in this retail. Verizon strong, but a miss here in operating revenue.
Adara just didn't get the message there. We don't mean to interrupt her, but her mic was cutting out.
The mic is cutting out.
So we'll get that fixed. We were having some audio issues. As you guys know, we brought someone in for that, and feel like it's gotten a lot better right there.
Hey, man, batteries, they die.
Those batteries are as cold as my hands and feet are, but hopefully,
it's warming up now. It's warming up now. I think I'm feeling a little bit better in here. But just very quickly, with the market retesting that 20,000, we shorted once, 1703 a couple times in here. Sorry, first time we actually got this low with 93s, and now we're bouncing back into VWAP, so back into Rivian. Nike is holding. I kind of said go Nike at a sort of like the corner of my mouth there as we're going to Adara. So Nike with the consolidation over that quarters level. So 74 break, above the quarters, 74.20 in here. It's trying to hold this higher low. It feels like, hey, you're buying it a little bit high if you try this consolidation, but it's just about this. There is your resistance. Since it got destroyed, support to resistance at 274 and a quarter. So holding above that, I think, would be a bullish sign. So you're getting a dip back in. We get underneath 74.20, and I would be out of this trade. But we're finally going to get in on the bid of Nike. If you got a VWAP retracement, I mean, that's so far ago that there's no point worrying about it. It's just 74.20 just recently holding. Let's give it a second crack back at the screen with Adara.
Sorry about that, guys. We do have to finish up this segment talking about some weaker sectors. Communications here, we have Verizon, VZ to the downside after a total operating revenue miss. Keep an eye, though, on AT&T in this sector as well, because they report earnings later this week. Also, some weakness in energy minerals with XOM and some others to the downside. Consumer non-durables a bit weaker as well, but generally, tech and finance very strong today, guys.
Those tech bros. All right, so yeah, we're just, we were just sort of putting out a tweet here about some of the trades that we had today because we want to make sure that everybody can understand sort of what's been happening in the market. It hasn't been completely the easiest market today, but if you were very, very patient and were able to buy off VWAP and you had the right names in your pocket, right? I mean, one disappointing name, and I didn't take it, and I kind of feel glad that I didn't, and that was this retracement. So I'm not in it, so it's good, but like I would have thought Tesla could have had a good chance to hold that VWAP. So if you are playing VWAP retracement plays, that's a play that I really like. And I didn't take it, and I don't really know why. I think I was too distracted by other names. But we were saying that we were looking for, some Tesla love there. So a nice move up. Generally speaking, I would love this retracement back in there. So I could see a lot of traders, or at least someone that trades similar to like I do, on pullbacks and looking for key levels and things like that. This to me should have held, and didn't. So again, not in it, but that's an area right there. For me anyways, little bit of a concern if you are looking at Tesla right there on that kind of a break. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. I could definitely have seen a hit there at 248 because it did go down to that 247, 246, and that was that bottom here, 246 area. So I could definitely have seen some traders get stopped out there. So I just wanted to say that would have been one that did not work on a strategy very, very similar to what we've been doing. So.
Yeah, it held at, is that 46 even?
Yeah, so I held it clean. I mean, that looks great on the chart.
Yeah.
I think we'd like that again if it comes back.
That's one of those.
We'll see.
46 was that bottom previously.
Yeah.
So you go from support to resistance, back to support for Tesla. All right, so Nike's going. All right, Nike, there's the break. It was just on a 15-minute for Tesla. Pop back over Nike. We were able to get it. While Daryl was talking, it pulled right back into the 30s. So there's your higher low off the quarters. It happens to be 18. It just tried to break through the top and kind of stopped exactly at the high, which is 74. I have 43 as the high of the day. I thought I saw a wick higher than that, but it's trying to go. If we get to the 3/4 mark, we're going to like it as well. If you're still watching I'm still watching CrowdStrike. If you still are, it didn't quite get to VWAP. I'd say that's close enough. So the next stop, I don't necessarily want to be short this at a non-key level. So let's let it calm down a bit. There's always a chance you get a double tap of the bottom. Yet on Friday, there was one bounce, and this was so much different on Friday. Like there was one bounce at the open off 280. Here, it's like every even dollar you had to be willing to get out. Ultimately, you got good moves, but you had to scalp each one of those for the 5 or whatever it was going to give you. Much different from yesterday's trade. And let's be real, it is a downward trending stock. We haven't found our way into any shorts. A double tap of 266 or 265 is the only way I'm jumping back into the long on this name. So Nike, hopefully it can go here. No guarantees whatsoever, but it is already starting to pull right back into our entry spot. Going to look for just a consolidation off this top for another break in NIK. And we haven't even looked at this. I had this on the back burner on Apple. It's 1% to the upside, but look very, very closely in at, it's like 229 here if we zoom it back in. So we haven't really gone to 229. This is the only level I had marked off, but you failed underneath this twice. If we don't hold 20,000, my thought was to fade pops on Apple, but I just had a couple of other names that we thought would be bigger opportunities. You're failing double top here at 228. I like this one as a short if we're not getting above 20,000. And I don't know that we're going to get this high again on Apple. So I am looking toward this one for a fade play. If we get the high of the day false break, sure. Maybe a VWAP short during lunch would be in play. But I was bearish on this given that 229 and the $20,000 level on the NASDAQ. But we're still at 19,999. So we haven't determined whether we're holding underneath. If we are, looking short on Apple underneath VWAP. So for now, we're just in Nike. We're in TLRY potentially all day. So nothing exciting there. It's 95 to 94. If it breaks down, we'll maybe get some 93s and 92s.
All right, so good little breakdown.
Now
There's a couple of names for sure. Is it hot in here? Okay, turn it.
Now I'm hot. Like,
I jacked up the heat. I mean, I told
it was
everyone
cold. Now it's hot. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, just go fix it, Sharif, or whatever you want to put it to. It was 22, which is still fine, but that's a little cold. It was like 22 is like 73 or so maybe. All right, So, well, yeah, get that going again. I don't even know how high I put it. What did I put it to 24? Yeah, 23. Okay. All right. All right. So here we go. Just a quick little review there. I mean, we just picked Amazon because it was past resistance. So we got out right there, and now it looks like a really good move by getting out. I was not sure when we took that fill at 118.50. Sorry, 184.15 right there, as we confuse it with our Broadcom trade. There's our out. We are now out of Amazon. And again, big stock, big alert right there. Broadcom still holding, waiting for a bigger high right there. And Nvidia chilling out brings us a perfect opportunity to discuss what's for lunch. All right, today's lunch, very, very simple. I mean, you know, it comes in very, very simple form. Most people will know exactly what this is, of course. Comes from the homeland, and it's okay. It's not my favorite dish. My mother makes a great one for sure, and I feel like it's more of a dinner than a lunch, but today's lunch, what is for lunch today is chicken cacciatore. So not bad, a little bit of a chicken stew there. So we'll see how that comes through. Yeah, for me, we'll see what's on our salad. My guess, pieces of chicken will be on there, but that is
however did you come up with that?
I don't know. I mean, it could be tuna as well. That's what's for lunch. All right, so yeah, a little chicken cacciatore, so that's a little nice right there. Yeah, we'll see what's going on. All right, so Broadcom, just because we only have 10 minutes left, I may not. Look, when we were in Nvidia and we told everyone to go to the beach, we're glad that we didn't because we put on 2 more winning trades since then. And already? Now, we're still a little early for that segment. Come on. But right there, 159.50. Oh, thank you. All right, so 159.50. She said we can go whenever our heart desires.
I know.
So you'll stay for a couple more minutes up there, Dara. All right, 159.60. If we drop below that, then we will get out. So that's Broadcom down there at 159.50. Amazon is still in the pocket for us. I can look at some more trades for you guys. I mean, Neil's been really focusing.
Cacciatore.
Yeah, exactly. Cacciatore.
No, that's what Hamster just put it in there. I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. I've never. We try to stay not political. Cacciatore is in like Tory.
Oh, Cacciatore. Yeah, when you mentioned that, I was like, Joe.
You went Joe Tory, which is fine too.
Anyways, there goes CrowdStrike again off of VWAP. So that was a great VWAP short. We should have just looked over there. This is our trade again. Fading VWAP. I mean, that's the trade there, and you had to have been looking at it. All right, without too much more to go, it's a Dara at the desk.
DXY virtually flat on the day here, on a day where we have very little economic data to parse through. This morning at 8:30, we got the Chicago Fed National Activity Index coming in higher than expected, 0.05 versus the forecast of negative 0.09. So above the expectation here, but below the previous print of 0.18. We do have some bill auctions coming later today, 6-month and 3-month here at 11:30. And we also do have Kamala Harris at speak at 11:30, so keep an eye on that. And potentially that has anything moving here with the DXY. But it's worth noting, no Fed speak on the docket for this week. We're during the quiet period ahead of next week's Fed meeting here, FOMC meeting with decision for rates set to be announced on July 31st. So that's definitely on watch. Also on watch ahead of that meeting, we have the quarterly GDP preliminary print for Q2 coming in on Thursday, and the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, the PCE, coming on Friday. So keep an eye on those prints as we head into that FOMC meeting next Wednesday, guys.
That's why the weed names are moving. I didn't realize that Kamala would be speaking today. I don't know. This could also just be in reaction to the news. She doesn't have to be speaking today. Right. It could just be in reaction to her, in theory, being at the top of the ticket. I mean, at this point, I think everybody's assuming that. So CGC 11%. I haven't looked at TLRY. I'm just pulling this up now for the first time, and pretty strong move. So if you look at, we talked about the potential unwind of the Trump trade. Well, I guess there's the engagement of, I'm not going to call the weed names the Kamala trade, but certainly I can't think of another reason why they're up. Let's just leave it at that. If you're trading this, VWAP has already held, so I think maybe go back to like a pull into previous high. That's like 780 in here. See what it can do, maybe breaking an 8 top. Nike's still chilling out a little bit, and TEL's doing pretty much what it was doing the last time I looked at it, which is hanging down around 94. Reddit got a good bounce here and is trying to hold a breakout. So, Reddit kind of fell on Friday. Now you have a nice little upward trend. I don't know if I prefer this over Nike. You're getting a break of a high and a consolidation over. I just feel like Nike's consolidation over is at a more significant price level. Obviously, it's come down pretty hard, but I just prefer Nike over this level, trying to fill in a gap into 76 potentially, than Reddit. So we're in Nike, but Reddit in the midst of a breakout. Worth looking at that one as well. So shout out to you, Rohit. I know you're watching that one pretty closely. You got ACB moving about, so the weed name's certainly going to be in play. Maybe look for some dips in the middle of the day and see if you can't grab that trend to the upside. Is that what I really... Space moving?
Yeah, it's moving. It's up a little bit here. It's up 5%. It just touched $7 and got faded out from there. So that was a great short for anybody that had that. A nice little volume spike of over 1 million shares coming through there. SPCE. So again, like, this dave's already been reverse split. I mean, you have to do that to stay NASDAQ compliant. So it looks like they went 10 to 1 or so back up. And then just look at this, man. Like, you want to talk about, just complete destruction of shareholder wealth. Space just continues to do that. Like, you thought at 50 cents or whatever this was, it was a good buy, right? Well, now all of a sudden, let's just say, what was it? Well, I guess it might have gone 20 to 1 actually down there. But now all of a sudden, your money is now chopped in half again. So realistically, you're down at like 30 cents now for SPCE. You might as well just, I'm not even going to say what to do with your shares, because I mean, as this comes down in, maybe you can reload this again at $1, which would be 10 cents or so. And then you could see if it starts to eventually go. But right now, Space reminding me a lot of some of those weed names that just kept on splitting and kept on going into nothing. And then you look down, and that's how you get minus 90% real quick. I'm sure some of you are already down 90+% on Space. All right, so JP Morgan again. There's the move back up. So I think now that we've seen sort of what the banks want to do here today, I feel like they're weaker, obviously, than these tech names, as the ES is 0.82, NASDAQ 126. We can even look at the XLF to get a better read of sort of the whole picture. But look at this, man. Right back into past resistance of the day, and then right back into the 200 period moving average. So JP Morgan right here is actually looking pretty interesting if you can find yourself into a long. It's come right back into some support. For me, now that I've seen this, I feel more comfortable shorting about $1 higher than this, but it's going to have to go. It can do that. 4 minutes left until we're gone, but then you have the whole afternoon, and then we're going to be back at 2 p.m. where we're going to discuss more plays. But for me right now, JP Morgan has to be on the radar. I would rather, if I'm going to go short, take on Wells Fargo, especially the fact that it's still up here. So 59.30 right now. Look at that. Look how good that is. I asked Michael Noss to give me like a scanner that goes back to pre-market highs. He did give me one, but it didn't hit for this. Yeah, basically retracing all the way back up to there. So there it goes, man. Wells Fargo right back up into 59.30. Then the fade happens for real. So that's a nice move back for Wells Fargo. So
I have one that's close.
I would just say 59.30 there would have been a great short there for Wells. But I don't want to get too... I mean, I know there's a lot of different scanners up here. And what I've tried to really do, and thank you to Pro Day Trader there, he said just apparently like, I'm looking more focused and this and that, focused on specific names. So that's what I'm trying to do. And it's really, really paid off. We're having our best month. So I can't complain about some of the things that we've been doing here today. Again, another big trophy day.
So I was just looking to see if I have a scanner that might have been close, but it doesn't, it's not, no, it doesn't, scanners. I'm looking at it and it's not going to give you, it's just any resistance, like key resistance, it's not going to give you the pre-market high. And I was looking around. There's lots of ideas out there, and I'm sure we can just ask Michael.
Oh, I can get that in.
Yeah. I feel like I spend time looking at it on Trade Ideas, what I want, and all you got to do is email Michael, and he'll give you the goods. So remember 20,000 in VWAP on Apple? There was no consolidation. There was no chill out mode down here. It just dumped. So I'm going to sit and just, we've seen Apple do this before. I'm going to sit on the offer. Like on Friday, see this, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 times you were able to get tests of 225 starting around 11 o'clock. So what is it right now? It's 11 o'clock, and this is VWAP. And then it did this on Thursday, where afternoon 1 o'clock, it kind of gave you a pivot spot under VWAP again, and it was at that 225 zone. So I don't mind sitting here and just shorting the pops back into VWAP on Apple. It's a strategy which has worked in the past. So I'm going to go right back to the well. Nike just did a bit of a lit grab, held on to 74.20, so we're still in Nike, and we'll just kind of stay the course with this. I want to see this break the high before looking for any trend hold. Like, it's doing some higher lows off this last break, So I think maybe it's going to reestablish the trend. I'd like to see it break the high, get into that 3/4 mark, and then we can get a little bit excited about NKE here going one more time. So Apple, going to look to short the pops. We only got about 2 minutes to go. It's going to be this is a good kind of day to do a gap lesson on the midday, because almost everything we're looking at is giving that gap. So you have small caps that have gapped, but you have almost all of these big cap names that have done their own gap and then trade after. And the one that'll be my frustration will be Tesla's gap, because it was a gap and go. I thought there'd be a dip. I mean, a dip into pre-market lows it looked so obvious, I think, in a 241 as support. And when that didn't happen, I pivoted over to, hey, this is our area. We want to be shorting it. After that stair step down, the 250, I got it on the front end. In the moment, it can seem like you're getting that trade out and being patient, letting it get to that price. But I didn't wait for a lot of confirmation when we took the short. Certainly a little bit better the next time through. And now you're retesting this 250 on strength as opposed to anything else. So Willis Addison, thank you for that super chat. Crowd make you proud. You still in it? Because it's at 275 right now.
Boom.
So, my chart's jacked up. 275 is, trust me, that's in and around VWAP, but that 75 level, certainly a ways away from Friday's lows at that 280 or 290 at the open. But if it fails VWAP, I think it's a short failing VWAP. But I missed my chance to get that reload. It was a higher low, much higher than I was expecting, and I just did not want to chase. You'll see me in Tellurian all day long. For those that are like, why is he short at 95 in Tellurian and staying there? Tell is being bought for $1 in cash. There is a seller at 95.5, so I'm short at 95. If it breaks the pre-market low, great. If it doesn't, then I'm scalping 1 or 2 cents the entire day. Just that simple. So it's not a complex trade at all. It's probably not going to move ever again, that stock.
So full disclosure, we went in and bought some CrowdStrike at 265 in our own account. That's why we haven't been trading CrowdStrike. And you know what? I mean, it's just a starter position. Let's see what happens. I mean, I like the name, huge name, CrowdStrike. We're lucky enough to get that. The low was 264.50. We were sitting at 265.50. We got that fill on CrowdStrike. So there it is right there. Nice little trade happening for us. It's 11 o'clock. Thank you for a great show. We had some great trades on. I hope that you were able to get some of those, or if not, enjoyed the show and were able to learn a little bit from our trades, and hope you had some fun watching as well. So thank you to Ramin, doing it all by yourself. So thank you to Ramin again today. Thanks to Adara for some of those updates. You're about to see Adara and Sharif right now.
Go get them.
Yes, what is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show.